You are now listening to another episode of the Renegade podcast. And in this interview, I'm going to be talking to the one and only, the Philosopher Catcus. I know the name sounds very silly, but he is a very interesting YouTuber because he is, again, his content is all over the place, right? He talks about movies and video games, and there's this one video that he made about nu metal and how it's, in his opinion, it's the best genre in the world. It's a very interesting type of video because he sort of talks about the sociological impact, the philosophy behind it, the actual music. It's really, really interesting. I'm not into nu metal like that, but at least I can come away with an appreciation that, okay, there's a different side that I didn't see. Right? He's from Ireland, and he also he talked about his life in Ireland, and he's a very interesting man. Because, again, like he said, he's in heavy metal. He was an alternative kid back in the day. He's the oldest guest I've interviewed. He's the oldest one. He's 40 years old, which is interesting. So, again, that gap could be interesting. I think, hopefully, I want to sort of bridge the conversation, old, new, millennial, Gen Z, 2000s kid, 80s kid. Like, there's a lot of things. So, again, he's from Ireland, too. So, again, this is my first, international guest that I spoke to, I'm going to be speaking to. So, it's going to be very, very fun. So, yeah, let's get it, bro. Let's get it. It's going to be very fun. And, it's going to be crazy. Good. Very, very fun. Very, very interesting. I think we are officially... Oh, now the legend has arrived in 3, 2, 1. Hello!
Hi!
Hey, bro, how you doing, my man?
How you doing? By the way, just to let you know, my girlfriend's in the room with me, just so she can hear you also.
Okay, that's fine, that's
I
fine.
just like letting people know. It's just...
Okay, that's fine, I'm cool with that.
Cool.
So, how's your day been, man?
My day's been good. I usually go to the library on Sundays.
Okay.
I'm writing it's actually my 4th novel that I've written.
Really?
But the other 3, I couldn't get an agent, so this is like my last attempt.
Oh, damn.
To get an agent.
Damn.
And if I don't get it this time, I'm just going to try and self-publish. But I was like, no, I'm going to make a proper effort and finish this and actually,
So wait a minute. Because I have not heard you speak about a novel on your channel. I know you mentioned it a little bit, but I didn't hear that you made 3 novels that didn't get, any proper agent.
No, I mean, I'll be honest, the first one was not good. Okay, the first one was, I think this is anybody who tries their first novel, it's just not going to be good.
Yeah.
So basically I was kind of sick for a while.
Yeah.
And I've got a thing called narcolepsy, which your sleep cycle's kind of fucked up.
Oh, okay.
And during a year when I dropped out of college really soon after I joined. I was 20.
Yeah.
And my mom was basically like, look, I know you're getting your tests done and stuff this year, but I'm not going to let you sit at home and do nothing.
Yeah.
So you have to write for an hour a day.
Wow.
Because she knew I could write. And I was like, really? You're going to make me write? And she's like, yeah. So I thought, okay, if I have to write for an hour every day for a whole year, I might as well try to do a novel.
Wow.
And I did. And it was completely, disordered. And, like I say, it wasn't great. It got a bit better towards the end.
Well, what was the plot about? What was it, like a sci-fi?
It was about a hitman.
A hitman? Oh, God.
Have you ever seen the movie Leon?
Yes.
Leon the Professional?
Great movie.
Basically, it was very like that. It was very cool and sexy. Sorry, not that Leon's a very sexy movie. You know what I mean? It was very stylized.
Yeah.
And what else did I base it on?
It sounds like that Jason Statham movie, The Professional or something like that.
Oh, it's probably. I think it was before that.
The Transporter.
Yeah, it's very in that vein. It's the very stylized Hollywood hitman.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, by the end it was okay, but it ended up being 100,000 words, which is quite long and it's really disjointed. And just by the end, I was like, I pitched it to a few agents, nobody wanted it. Then I wrote a second one, which was sort of based on my time in Trinity College.
Oh, wow.
Fictionalized.
Like a Good Will Hunting type of thing?
Say again?
Like a Good Will Hunting type of thing, or?
No, it was like, I'd had such a bad time in Trinity College because it had been my dream for so long.
Yeah.
But Trinity College is sort of like the American equivalent of like Harvard.
Wow.
I don't know what your equivalent would be like in Canada, but
yeah.
It's like the creme de la creme. And I was like, it was almost like, I have to get here and I'll be somebody, you know what I mean? It's like bullshit. And then when I got there, I was like, it was a wonderful college, but it was really difficult. And all the people there were like, it was just full of normies. I was like, I so did not fit in.
Okay.
And so I made up this story where I find all these friends.
Yeah.
But they're like psychopaths, and I don't realize that. And then in the end, they're like they like hunt me for game in Trinity College, and it's okay. Like it was, but again, much more focused. And I actually had beginning, middle, and end in my mind.
Yeah.
It's that one. No one wants that one.
Yeah. You know what? That sounds a lot like there's a movie I watched recently. It's called Seven Psychopaths. Martin McDonough.
I've seen that. Martin McDonough.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of that a little bit. That's cool.
Yeah. It's I'm trying to think.
Yeah. So this latest novel that you're writing,
say again.
So this latest novel that you're writing, right? Like, what are you doing, like, during this writing process that is, like, different from all the other ones? Are you, like, actually, like, breaking it down? What's the difference?
I don't know. I mean, it's like, for the second, third, and fourth novel, I actually had a beginning, middle, and end in my mind. Because in the first one, because I didn't know what I was writing about, I'm just like, okay, it's about a hitman. And I had one chapter. And I was like, okay, so he's done his first mission, now what does he do? And then the second chapter was literally him just like walking around in a park, and I'm like, because I figured if I kept writing, something would come. Whereas with the next three novels, I actually sat down and said, okay, what's the story actually going to be about?
Yeah.
What are the story beats? So for all of them, including this one, I did the same thing. Going, okay, here's what it's about. Here's what's going to happen. Here's where it's going to end.
Yeah.
And obviously, I have changed things here and there, but obviously, you write a much better story when you actually have an idea of where it's going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the only real difference between this one and the last two is I've just gotten better at writing. So I'm more confident, and as well as actually writing, doing the Philosopher Cactus videos has really helped me sharpen my writing, because it's forced me to write a piece 2,000 or 3,000 words every single month, which actually, it's amazing how quickly that will improve you. Yeah. Just forcing myself to do that. You know, especially if you know people are going to hear this, because like with a novel, you think, well, no one might ever read this, but like if you put something on YouTube going, like people are going to hear this, so it better be decent, you know? Yeah.
It's interesting because I was going to ask you, like, what was the inspiration behind the name itself, the Philosopher Cactus? Because that's a strange name for a YouTube channel. Like,
it is a really strange name. So my mom, how do I explain this? I'm a little bit direct with people, right? So I don't mean to be rude. I don't mean to be, like, I really bend over backwards not to be mean to people and not to insult people. Yeah. But I'm quite direct. Yeah. When, you know, and it's a very Irish thing not to be direct. Yeah. It really pissed me off growing up here. Yeah. That when someone asks you a question, they're like, oh, well, you know, here's the thing. And, like, if someone asks me a question, I don't want to do something, I'll just be like, no. Yeah. I'll just be so blunt and so direct. Yeah. When my mom said you're like a cactus. I said, what do you mean I'm like a cactus? I was like, that's funny. You know, cactuses, they're beautiful, but they're spiky. And I was like, okay. Oh, God. And the philosopher bit is just because I overthink, like, everything. Okay. And I ended up making the channel because, I wanted to do a channel about something, and I just did, like, a welcome to the channel, kind of, like, here's who I am, kind of thing. It was, like, 2 minutes, and it was about nothing. I was called it video number 0, because it wasn't really a video. Yeah. And there was this song from about 10 years ago, or 12 years ago, called Blurred Lines. Oh, wow, yes. And it was like, I loved that song so much. And I was working in this sex shop at the time. What? And, yeah. What? I just finished college. I was finished up in Trinity. That's crazy. I wanted to do my master's, and me and my mom had a fight, and she basically said she kicked me out. Now it was stupid. It was about nothing. It was just I said some harsh words and I moved out like really suddenly and we made up. We were friends, whatever. But to do my masters, then I had to. Masters actually were quite reasonable here, like maybe like €6,000.
Oh
like,
wow.
Maybe about 10,000 Canadian. Like it's more expensive now.
Yeah.
But even so, I had to save up. I had like no money leaving home. To save up. I'd always liked sex shops. Don't ask me why. I'd never been a drug kid. I'd never been a drinking kid. Didn't smoke.
Yeah.
Something about sex toys fascinated me.
Oh damn.
But I'd always wanted to work in one, and I passed by this door because I had to find any job, right?
Yeah.
I passed by this shop, and it looked like it was closed because it had like painting sheets in the window.
Yeah.
And I said, first of all, I said, "Are you open?" And the woman there, and very very untypical of what you'd expect. Like this kind of middle-aged black French lady was sitting there.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Is this your shop?" And she was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, okay." And I introduced myself, and I said, "You're not hiring by any chance?" She goes, "Yeah." And I was like, "Oh my god, really? I've always wanted to work in a place like this." Anyway, I worked there. It was a fun job. It was a very interesting job, but it was quite difficult because it was in a sketchy part of town.
Okay.
And of Dublin city centre. And like, I ended up working these like really long shifts. And she was very, very good to me. She was really good, like, because she knew that the next year I was going to be doing my masters, and I was doing my masters full time, and I was working full time. So I ended up working these like 13-hour shifts.
Wow.
And like, I'd be so fucking tired during the day.
Yeah.
Right. And when. So again, really good. You could listen to whatever I wanted. I put on all my heavy metal and all my anything I wanted.
Yeah.
But it's amazing that like after a few weeks of listening to your own music, you actually run out of music quite quickly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And this is before like YouTube playlists and all that stuff that would just sort of randomize stuff for you.
Yeah.
So I started listening to the radio, and this one song would come on, and it was like originally I don't know why I thought it was Prince. Because it kind of reminded me of like 1999 and songs like that. Because it had the kind of
because you know what's funny about that song, bro?
Yeah.
That beat was supposed to have Prince on it. That original beat. So Pharrell did this interview with Drink Champs. I don't know if you heard that. It's like
no.
So Drink Champs is like Noriega used to be like a hot 90s rapper back in the day, right? And on his albums, DJ EFN, he's like this Cuban legendary like DJ kind of sort of guy who just shuffles the boards, right? Yeah. He used to introduce him, right? And I think in 2016 they started this company called Drink Champs, which eventually turned into this podcasting like empire, right? They'll just get anybody that they were connected with at the time, right? Yeah. So Robin Thicke came by in an interview, I think it was 2023, right? And the reason why that's important because Robin Thicke and Pharrell were like best friends, right? Sure. And Robin Thicke people don't understand, like Robin Thicke was like big, like in the R&B scene in the 2000s. He was kind of like have you heard of Bryson Tiller?
No, I don't know.
Okay, he was like dirty. He was low key like The Weeknd before The Weeknd, right? That type of music, right? But it was a lot more like old school soul, neo soul, blue eye soul type of thing, right? So Blurred Lines, that beat, right, was supposed to go to Prince, right? But he'd say he turned it down, right? And then he hit up Robin Thicke, right? And Robin Thicke was making a song with T.I. at the time, right? He couldn't figure out what song he wanted to make, right? Because he's making this album. He wanted to go mainstream, right? Because Robin Thicke had some hits, right? He had this song called "Just Wanna Love You" featuring Pharrell. He had a couple tracks, Jadakiss, right? He had a couple songs. Like he was like pop. He was sort of like kind of like the Ty Dolla. You heard of Ty Dolla $ign?
No, I mean I'm going to say this right now.
Yeah.
Most people, and by the way, this is a result of me almost being 40.
Yeah.
If you say, "Do you know so and so?" I'm probably going to be no.
Okay.
like all my reference points. 95% of them are going to be from like 20 years ago.
Okay, that's fine.
So I do apologize in advance for anything musical. It's going to be like Justin Timberlake. Yeah, I remember him. But like that's so fucking long ago.
Yeah. All right, so that song.
Sorry, go on.
So that the song's made, right? And Robin Thicke did this interview with Byron Scott. He's an NBA player, right? And that's important because he coached like guys like Kobe Bryant, and I think he coached LeBron for a little bit. And he had him on his podcast. He said the video, right, because you talked about the video in your video about blurred lines, and
oh, it's so fucking bad. It's
yeah,
such a bad video.
So that was not originally the actual plan for the video. The video was supposed to be a lot more modest, but they get this director, and this director was more specialized in the sort of explicit content. In terms of just like sort of pushing the boundaries.
Yeah, because I mean, she like the explicit version of Lap Dance from many years before was like a lot of titties in that video.
That's great.
A lot of like for music video terms, like it was very explicit.
It was right. So obviously, the next thing you know, rest is history, and Robin Thicke's career hasn't really been the same, right? So again, I am a Robin Thicke fan, like older Robin Thicke. That's my shit, right? Sure. Which I never thought I would say a couple years ago, but I checked out his stuff recently, and I'm like, I was shocked how good it was, right?
It's funny. I never thought of going back and looking at his old stuff, because that was like the first. I didn't know anybody else who knew Robin Thicke.
Yeah.
In Ireland before, and I'm sure somebody did, but like over here, he just like was not a thing.
Yeah, he's not.
And when that like song came out, like that was like fucking huge.
He was. That song's massive.
And yeah, like I had like no idea who this dude was.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until like back when I was on Facebook, like I've completely just left social media behind now. But back when I was on Facebook, I used to use a lot. One of my friends posted something about this video.
Yeah.
And he was like, I like loved this song. Just like when this song came on, it was like my happy song. It's the one that really uplifted me, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not someone who like really analyzes lyrics. For all my overthinking, I'm thinking like lyrics are lyrics. Like they can mean anything, you know what I mean? And every person's gonna have a different interpretation.
Yeah.
And he posted this link, and it was to the Blurred Lines video, and he was like something about like, oh, it's a pity this is so misogynistic or woman hating or something.
Yeah.
And I clicked on it, and I thought, oh fuck, it's my song. And I was so bummed. I was so thinking like, oh, this is some piece of shit writing this. And I just took it for face value. Like,
yeah.
I'm really ashamed that I did that, right?
Yeah. That's the thing with, I don't want to interrupt you, but that's the thing with music is like, people can interpret it for different things. Like there's a song back in the day, there's a song, you must have obviously, there's a song, this is Beyonce's song, right, called Single Ladies. You must have heard of that song, right?
Yeah, I remember Single Ladies.
Right. And when that song released, it was massive, right? And there was this sort of, in the background, there were like this sort of like conspiracy kind of YouTube thing was sort of taking off at the same time as well. And that song specifically, right, for some reason, people would try to reverse it. And they try to interpret the lyrics differently. And it's like, and I'm just, at the time, it was ridiculous. Looking back, it was sort of like a precursor to like all of the madness that's going on right now.
It's just like when people would like try to play the song backwards. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, I never fucking understood that like, because they used to do that back in like the 70s and 80s apparently. And like, I don't know, even if it did have meanings backwards, like you can't hear it like that.
Yeah. And that's why like this sort of, that's why people talk about, when people say, man, the Satanic Panic, that was such an old thing. It's not. It's a recurring thing, right?
Yeah, 100%, yeah.
It's a recurring thing, right? And you obviously, you brought this up a little bit in the video as well. It's like, you know, when we look at certain angles of certain things, right? Like, hear the Needle Drop?
Needle Drop?
Yeah, the music reviewer, Anthony Fantano.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, yeah. Fantano, I know.
So when he reviews something, right? There's this misconception that he has a same ranking system for all the albums, for all the artists, and I'm like, that could be further from the truth. My interpretation of it is that he's ranking these albums based on what he thinks the artist is capable of, right? So
that's interesting.
Yeah, it is. Well, I don't know that that's the truth or not, but that's how I would have sort of interpreted it, because it's kind of consistent, right? For the artists that he hates, he expects much more from them because they have all the resources, they have all the connections in the world. So there should not be excuse to at least make a decent album, not a great album or a classic or whatever, but a decent album, right?
Yeah.
So there was a time where a lot of his negative reviews will be on pop music at that time, right? Because I think in his words, he thought that pop music was sort of kind of like taking these sort of shortcuts, right? They weren't allowing things to develop over a song, right? There's a reason why a lot of his reviews on pop music has sort of kind of softened over the years, because there's certain things you learn, right? And you sort of have new information that you can then apply to those same things. Now, you can have the same opinion, but you have a different perspective on that same opinion, type of thing, right? Right. So so this sort of YouTube channel you have, right? Was that something that you always wanted to do, or was that something sort of spur of the moment type of thing?
No, so basically, like, I wanted to do something, and I didn't know what yet. So I put the first video up, and then I didn't do anything for like 6 months.
Yeah.
And after the Blurred Line song came out, and basically I used to watch a lot of Howard Stern. When he had Robin Thicke on, I listened to it, and he talked about what the song was actually about, and it was just this really innocuous like song about him and his wife when they were younger. And it was like a moment where I thought, motherfucker, like, it's something really, I got so mad because, like, first of all, it's like I felt like people were trying to take my song away from me.
Yeah.
And it's like, nobody else seems to actually stop and think, well, is this true?
Yeah.
People say this about this thing, like, which, and like you said, you know, like lyrics are so open to interpretation.
Yeah.
And I'd actually heard it from the source. Now, obviously, like, Robin Thicke might be lying, fair enough. Like, we don't know that either. But it seemed like a really weird thing to lie about, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was taking his word for it. Like, he's the only person who actually knows what the song's about, because he wrote it. Right?
Yeah.
Him and Pharrell.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting in, like, so many arguments with people.
Yeah.
Because everyone's like, well, of course it's a song about consensual sex. And I'm like, but it's not, though, and here's why. And I remember I was, there was like a kind of a kinky night I used to go to.
What?
And, yeah.
What?
Like, I'm involved in the whole alternative scene. There's a fetish night called Nivnock in Dublin. It's like the only one we really have. There's a few small ones as well.
Oh.
Anyway, a mate of mine brought his friend.
Yeah.
Very nice girl, and, you know, people would be dressed kind of racy. Like, I think she was just, like, in a bra and underwear, and I was, like, wearing whatever. And we were just dancing. No, it's that kind of place. It's that kind of place.
Wow.
Like, nothing, you can't do anything there because of Irish laws are very, very strange. But, you know, you can, you know, be scantily clad.
Yeah.
And I remember the song came on, and she stopped dancing, and she's like, oh, this song. And we got into, like, a full argument about it on the fucking dance floor. and, like, through the entirety of the whatever 3.5 minutes it is, we went from having a really good time dancing to arguing about Blurred Lines, and I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah,
this is so fucking stupid.
It is.
So basically, I don't know why that song came into my head however many years later. This is like 2020 at this point. 2022?
Yeah.
Give or take, it was around that time.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what, like, because I was, at this point as well, like, getting cancelled was like a big thing.
Yeah.
Right? And, like, having unpopular opinions and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, if I make a YouTube channel about anything,
yeah,
and if I get anyway, like, popular, I know I'm going to be afraid to do anything controversial later. So I might as well make my first proper video controversial and just see what happens. Because it's, like, literally my first proper video.
Yeah.
If this fucks up, then I haven't really lost anything, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I basically just sat down and wrote for hours everything that I thought about the song, everything that had happened, everything, and I kept just condensing and condensing and condensing it.
Yeah.
And it's like, when I finally put it out, I didn't have to think about it anymore.
Okay.
And there was something almost like therapeutic about that. So if it ever came up again with anybody, and actually ironically I don't think it ever did after that, but if it did, I'd be like, oh, you know what? I made a video about that. Yeah. You can go watch it.
Yeah.
So it's like I wouldn't have to argue about it because all my thoughts are out there in the stratosphere.
That is so interesting. Of all the people I've interviewed, you're like the first one that actually like broke it down the way you broke it down. Yeah. It's really interesting.
That was kind of it. Like, and I felt really free to being able to do that.
Yeah.
And I did the kind of a similar thing. Like, now, a lot of my videos aren't like that. A lot of them are just, you know, just very nostalgia and stuff. Because originally I thought maybe I might do like a video game channel. Yeah. Because I really, really love video games. Yeah. But I was kind of worried that, like, I might run out of topics or something. Yeah. Things to talk about. Yeah. And as well as that, I like giving myself the option that if I want to talk about anything, I can talk about anything. But I know that's not the best thing for channel growth because it's a bit unfocused.
Yeah.
But it was really nice. Like, recently I did it as well. And it's funny, the video completely took a shit. Like, no one seemed to care about it. And I was so worried about this. Like, 2 videos ago, I did one about this this very big case in Australia called Giggle versus Tickle. Or Tickle versus Giggle.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and just in general, the whole trans issue. And, like, I was so fucking worried about that because this was such a hot topic.
It is.
And as well as that, me being someone, like, I'm so on the left.
Yeah.
And I've always been on the left. I never had this, like, awakening as either a left or a right. I've just always been a leftist.
Yeah.
And it was really strange for me that this topic... And by the way, I'm very pro-trans, and I will say that. Like, I'm very, very supportive of trans people however I can. But if you're pro-biological women, there's a conflict.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like you're at the point where you have to, like, pick a side.
Yeah.
Which is weird, like, and it's uncomfortable. And I was like, well, you know what? I'm gonna sort of plant my flag and go, well, you know what? I'm pro biological women first, and pro trans second. And if trans rights are impeding on biological women, then I see that as a problem.
Yeah.
And like, I just wanted people to know that because I never like if my channel gets bigger, I never want people to be like, you believe this? How could you not tell it? You know what I mean? Like, I don't ever want it to be like I'm hiding things from people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And as well as that, one thing I really want to encourage is that it's okay to have unpopular opinions as long as you're not doing it from a place of hate and as long as you're trying to be respectful about it.
That's something I want to...
That's okay. Like, that is... And you should be encouraged to speak your mind as long as you're not being shitty about it.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's a line I think some people don't understand, don't really sort of have discernment for, because you heard of guys like Critical Drinkler and Mauler. You must have heard of those guys.
Sorry, Critical
Drinkler.
No.
Mauler.
I thought it meant critical as in critical, like Moist Critical.
No. So he's a film reviewer, right?
Okay.
And he started as a film reviewer, right? His content was kind of harmless, right? You sort of learn that he's a bit of a nostalgia merchant, and he's a bit of a, might be a little bit conservative, right, on certain things. But you look at his content now, it's all hate. It's all, like, it's bigoted, it's hatred. He does not even watch the stuff that he reviews. He even says it himself, and people still watch him. But his videos get 1 million every single video. 1 million views every single video.
The economy of hate is, like...
It's crazy.
It's astounding.
It is.
And even, like, sometimes I think people do it because they know they're going to get views, they know they're going to get popular, they're not popular, but they know they're going to get, like, notoriety.
Yeah.
And that makes you money.
Yeah.
And I get it. I mean, I don't think it's right that people do it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, it is absolutely rewarded. Like, you see this... You hear about this happening all the time on Twitter now. People just post rage bait.
Yeah.
Because it gets...
yeah.
Sorry, what's the word?
Engagement farming?
Thank you. So that's the word I couldn't think of. Again, it gets like crazy good engagement.
Right.
And they get monetary gains from that, which is wrong. Like, that is wrong. Because
but when the system is built on dividing people, then people are going to find ways to profit from that. Right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like it's like in the old sort of like back in like the 20s and 30s in the U.S., alcohol was banned, right?
Sure.
The Prohibition era, right? And a lot of people were making a lot of money from smuggling illegal alcohol, and the government didn't just unban it because it was this moral thing. No, they did it because they wanted their own piece of the pie, right? Yes. Think about like MK Ultra. Right, there's so much misconceptions about that, right?
I've heard of you. See, you have to break that down for me because I've heard about MK Ultra.
Yeah,
and I know there's some. It's something to do with like LSD and government something, right?
Yeah, so they were trying to find if the human, like, trying to push the limits of the human brain, which again, in their terms, I don't really like. Again, the CIA, like, they sort of declassified all these documents about MK Ultra, and surprise, it was not like Stranger Things. It was not like telekinesis and upside down. Like, it was nothing like that. But people have this in their brain that, again, a lot of confirmation bias. Because have you heard of the Montauk experiments?
No.
Oh, so the Montauk experiments. So that's another sort of canary in the coal mine. Because there's this guy, supposedly this guy named Preston Nichols, right? He was like, again, he was selling this book right? I think it's called the Montauk Experiment, something like that. And his book was about his experiences, supposedly, right? Now, when you read this book, a lot of things don't make any sense. Essentially, he's kind of a fraud, right? But the possibility of him being in the MK Ultra type of program is a possibility, right? The very fact that the U.S. government, not even the U.S. government, governments all around the world have been trying to find ways to sort of do mind control in their own way.
Yeah.
Right? You know, that's why, so here's the thing, right? My background is Pakistani, right? I'm Canadian, Pakistani, second generation, right?
Okay.
And it's so interesting when I see these conspiracy theories online, none of them mention anything about the Middle East or Pakistan. Unless that's something to do with immigration.
Right.
You notice that, right? It tells me that they don't really care about these issues if it really affects them, type of thing, right? They do it because they know it's going to make a profit, right? Think about channels like True Stream Media. I don't know if you heard of them or not. But again, the same exact thing. They take one thing that might be true, one fact, and they make a whole story out of it. Right? It is exploitation 101, and I don't know how people are not calling this out more. I'm sorry. It just does not make any sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting you mentioned confirmation bias. And I think a lot of people don't realize, and I suffer from this as well, how much your confirmation bias affects everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you do have to almost stop yourself and be like, hold on a second, this is what I just already believe. So obviously I'm going to believe this person quicker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the reason, and I've seen this happen with people, if someone's living a really good life, and things are going their way, and life is doing what they want it to do, which is rare, but even on a basic track. Generally, those people aren't big conspiracy theorists.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying never, but I always feel that the people who are the biggest conspiracy theorists usually have a kind of shitty life.
Yes.
Or they need to feel important, they need to feel in control. And I think the control one is a big one. If you think, oh my god, I know something that other people don't. I know the truth.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big reason that people like believing is because they think they're part of something.
Yeah.
That's kind of exclusive and it's different.
Yeah.
And it's if they get to be part of that, look, you see the same thing with fandoms or online communities.
Yeah.
That people go so deep into this because they need to feel like they're a part of something, that they're important, that they mean something.
Yeah.
Because if they don't, they're just another anybody.
Yeah. And that's the thing.
I felt like that's
and obviously that sort of isolation can absolutely destroy a person. But in my experience, 100%. Right, there was times where I always had people that I can talk to. I'm lucky enough to have that. But there was times where I was by myself. And I had to sort of, in my mind, entertain myself in my mind enough.
Sure.
To, again, when I do get that person that I could talk to about anything, then I will be, again, satisfied. Now, that might not work for everybody else. But the thing that sort of... Because I used to have a really bad problem with temper tantrums when I was younger. I would, be interrupting class out of nothing, right? A teacher could be doing a lesson, or his recess, or his lunch. Because usually we have lunch inside our classrooms in Canada until high school, right?
Yeah.
So you're middle school, public school, kindergarten, you usually have lunches in the same classrooms, right? Mm-hmm. And, for some reason, I thought that was the time for me to freak out, right? Because, again, nobody was really talking to me, and I would just be causing this ruckus because I thought that I deserved the attention, you know what I'm saying? Because I wasn't really that good in school to begin with, right? Granted, I got better, much better as time went on, but it was, again, similar. It was but I never really felt the need to, start believing things that weren't obviously true. Granted, there was a little bit of a phase I had with conspiracies around the pandemic. I vividly remember, right? It was COVID.
Yeah.
And I seen a lot of this, Bill Gates is doing these microchips and yada, yada, yada. And I knew it was ridiculous. But when the pandemic started to sort of go on and on and on, I started thinking, this might be... Obviously, I didn't believe that specific thing, but I said they might be prolonging this. This might be a first phase of something. Obviously, that's not true. Right? 2025. But in 2020, in the summer, because I moved from Canada to Berlin for like a year, right?
What?
Yeah. And it was again that same type of thing, because I didn't have any friends in Berlin, obviously. I couldn't speak German.
Yeah.
Right? Granted, a lot of people spoke English, but it wasn't like, again, I couldn't just go up to people, because German people are like, again, they're like very direct, like type of thing, right? So it was a bit of a learning curve.
So I want to ask you something, actually, because it's just because you brought up conspiracy theories. And like, look, I get anything about trans or immigration or vaccines or the lizard people or the Illuminati, any of those, right? I can sort of get where people are coming from a bit, or I can kind of see where their nugget of truth, quote unquote, is coming from, right?
Yeah.
Even though, like you say, a lot of them are just fucking ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
The one that I can absolutely not make my peace with, I cannot get my head around, and I still cannot, to this day, believe that this is real, that people really believe this. And I want to see, where do you think this came from?
Yeah.
Flat Earth.
Oh.
Like, I honestly thought, the first time I heard this, I'm like, well, because there's so much shit posting online.
Yeah.
I thought, well, that's just a shit post.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, fucking come on, like, the Earth's not flat, like,
it's not, yeah.
A long time ago,
but like when you start, here's the thing, right?
And then I was like, people really believe this, and I met one. I actually met a real flat earther.
Oh my gosh!
There was a friend of my mom's, and again, really nice dude. And I just sat and listened to him for about 20 or 30 minutes, and it's like for whatever like people, very anti-immigration sentiment going on in Ireland at the moment.
Yeah,
and like. A lot of the anti-immigration people, when you sit down and listen to them, they're like, a lot of what they're talking about is based on absolute bullshit. Like, it's either based on, like, not, like, non-truth, or, very, like, from a certain angle truth, or, you know what I mean? Yeah. But, like, as bullshitty as that is, when you listen to flat earthers, you're like, this doesn't even sound like logic.
Yeah, it doesn't.
You know what I mean? Like, but they, and the other thing is, like, they really believe it. Like, they so believe it. And, like, when I was talking to this guy, and this is one of my biggest things about conspiracy theories, because people I knew used to have the chemtrails conspiracy.
Yeah, chemtrails.
Chemtrails, the government's doing it to poison us, and da-da-da.
Yeah.
And the second the conspiracy theories fall apart, and by the way, I did not think for a second that conspiracy theories don't exist. I'm sure the government has plenty of fucking shit they're not telling us about, right?
Yeah.
But the second you ask, why are they doing it? They don't have a good answer for you.
They
right?
don't.
So when
because I don't want to interrupt you, but I actually got into a bunch of arguments on people on Twitter about conspiracies in general. There's this one guy, his name is Bruce Brothers. He's like this Twitter follower. He had like 1,000 followers, right? For some reason, he picked up five of me because I said something about the NFL, right? He believed like the NFL is scripted and everybody's supposed to Satan, and you don't. He's like this Jesus freak type of dude, right?
Okay.
And I just kept arguing. I kept trying to be empathetic. And he just kept telling me, you're a communist, you're this, you're that. F Joe Biden, yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, what are you doing here? Like, we start from the NFL to something completely different.
I know, it's weird when people will just change like that. But with the chemtrails thing, right?
Yeah.
I said to my people who were talking about it, why would the government try to poison us?
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, population control, because the population's too big. And then I thought, yeah, but if the government wants to kill us, there's much easier ways to do that. Like, if you think how much money and time it would take to load up hundreds of planes every single day, whereas they could just put some stuff in our food, that would be much quicker, much easier, much harder to trade. Whereas, like, if you look up in the sky and go, like, those big trails, same way the flat earther that I met, he didn't believe in space either, by the way.
Oh my god.
Space is made up. He said, like, oh no, there's a big dome surrounding Earth that the government's put there. And I said, but why though? Like, why would the government make up outer space? There's no reason for that.
Yeah, here's the thing, right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of them often use, religion, specifically the Christian faith, as a crutch.
Right.
They keep talking about, God's plan and yada, yada, yada. And here's the thing, I'm a Muslim, right? But I'm not like a fundamentalist. I'm open to people challenging the faith, right? But again, I always say, what if? Because sometimes I troll. What if God never wanted to create humanity? You know, what if all your problems is because God hates you
God never wanted
specifically? Huh?
Sorry, what did you say? I missed that. What if God never wanted what?
Never wanted to create humanity to begin with.
Right.
It was just a justification for his existence. Whenever I say that, they can't answer it. They freeze.
Yeah.
Right? Because all that sort of confirmation bias gets locked in. Right?
Yeah.
And it just, again, they storm off, right? Or they throw a temper tantrum online, talking about you don't know this, yada yada yada, or they don't respond, right?
I think honestly, people like. It's amazing how much an individual will not know. Even very very intelligent people.
Yeah.
Might know a lot about one thing.
Yeah.
Or a few things, but there's so much we actually people don't know.
Yeah.
But it's almost like we're encouraged to pretend like we do or something.
Yes.
And I think people are very very afraid of putting their hands up and going, you know what, I actually don't know that much about that topic, or I know nothing about that topic.
Yeah.
And it's almost like we're encouraged to talk about stuff like we know what we're talking about,
Yeah.
and we actually don't. And I don't know why. And it's only relatively recently, I'm an English language teacher. It's my main job.
Really?
Sometimes people will ask me something, and I'll start talking about a subject.
Yeah.
And I should stop myself and go, actually, you know what? I don't want to talk about this like I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like I'll start talking about nutrition, and I'll realize I know a little bit about nutrition, but there's fuck tons that I don't know about.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, you know what? Actually, you should Google this. You should look at, because I actually don't know.
It's the same thing why, when I see people sort of, worship, there's certain people on the right, back in the day, right? Because Jordan Peterson's not really, liked anymore in that space, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a time where, everything that dude said, which is funny, because he's from Canada. He used to teach courses in U of T, right? Same college my brother is going to right now, right?
Yeah.
And he was this sort of master about talking about psychology and history and all that, right?
Sure.
In that realm, he knows a lot, right?
Yeah.
When you take his biases out, he knows a lot about that topic. But when he starts talking about movies and politics and all this other stuff, it's like, bro, what are you talking about, man? Stay in your lane.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of it's amazing that as soon as you there's a couple of things. First of all, when you look at a new topic,
Yeah.
I think sometimes when people look at a new topic and they read about it for a few hours,
Yeah.
they think they're masters at it. They think they know everything.
Yes.
But as well as that, when you look at something, if you try to look at it with an open mind,
Yeah.
it's amazing that when you look at a new topic, there's so much in it. There is so much in a single topic. If you think there are thousands of different things to learn about in life, right?
Yeah.
That if you want to actually get competent knowing about one topic, it will take you many hundreds of hours of research if you want to actually really educate yourself in it. And most people just don't even have the time or the want to do that.
Yeah.
I think most people won't admit that. They'd be like, you know what, I read about this for a few hours and this is what I know, but there's plenty I don't, you know?
Yeah. It's the main character syndrome.
That
right?
too. I think that's become a
They think they're in a movie. They think they're Rambo and they're thinking Arnold Schwarzenegger or Terminator. I'm like, bro, you're just a side character, man. Just be happy with that.
But even if they don't think they're that, they're like, look, I mean, I'm the lead character in my own story. I know what's up. I know it's true.
It's just a lot. Again, I feel like there is a big mental health problem in the world that some people just don't want to address because it doesn't make money.
Oh, there is.
Right? But why do you think? Right? Because as a person in Canada, when you're growing up, a lot of our news, you notice a lot of our news talks about what's going on in the U.S. Because how can you not talk about what's going on in the U.S.? It's a crazy town every single year for the last for so long, right? And I'll never forget this. Have you heard of George Carlin?
George Carlin, yeah.
Yeah. So he does his stand-up, right? HBO stand-up, right? This was a couple years before he died. Rest in peace. And he was talking about how come there isn't a war on homelessness the same way there isn't war on drugs, war on terror, war on all these things. Because they can't make money out of this. Right? Improving people's lives right, will not make that much money for the people at the top, right? Because again, this is why I always say, like, you know, this is why I always say that a lot of our issues are solvable when we stop bickering with each other and actually realize that the system in place is the reason why we have these issues to begin with, right? But people would rather be talking about, you know, how Snow White is woke and yada yada yada, because again, it's easy money, right?
I know, like, because at the end of the day, and by the way, I'll say this, I have not seen the Snow White movie. I've seen all the controversy around it.
It is.
But, like, at the end of the day, it doesn't fucking matter. It's a movie.
Yeah.
Like who gives a shit? You know what I mean? But no, you're right. Like it's amazing how the focus is on stuff that's, like, really, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's a lot of it is first world problems. Because, you know, I was talking about this.
And look, I do realize that, like, and I'm not anti-drugs, but at the same time, I do think that, like, drugs seriously do affect people's lives, and it is something very, very serious.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, homelessness is a much bigger issue than drugs. Like,
yeah.
A lot of the time, drugs are just a personal.
It's choice, a side factor, right?
Exactly, and, like, I know sometimes people do take drugs and they do hurt people, but it's here anyway. It would be rarer.
Yeah.
Than just people just getting fucked up, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
No, one of my favorite quotes by Bill Hicks.
Yes.
He's my favorite comedian of all time. Very big in the 80s and early 90s. And unfortunately, he's dead now too. He was talking about the war on drugs, and he's like, there's a war on drugs, and the people on drugs are winning this war.
Yeah. That's true. That. Right? I mean, think about, like, I think a lot of the, again, why you think, this is why, like, obsessing over sort of decades like the 80s and stuff like that to be never really sits right, because granted, the 80s felt like a fun time. Would have been fun if I was living that era, but you understand, who was the president during that? It was Ronald Reagan. The amount of damage he's done to the country and more likely to just the West in general is just, again, there's a certain portion of the political right that worships him like crazy. I'm like, what?
Sure, and I'll be the first to say I don't know a huge amount about Reagan. I know that he was very anti-drug, though.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people really disliked him, and like you say, I know a lot of people, like, worship the ground he walks on, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, I never got the impression he did anything that great for the country as a whole.
Yeah. Again. And also, being a president of that type of country is a thankless job. Because, you really think about it, objectively, the best president of the last, like, maybe since, like, JFK, probably is Obama. But that's not really saying much, because he couldn't implement the things he wanted to do. So it felt like he was just a spokesperson for things he couldn't physically change. Right?
Yeah, it is weird, like, the fact that, especially when you've got a Democratic president, that, like, the House is mostly full of, like, Republicans.
Yeah.
That are going to be, like, blocking what you want to do.
Yeah.
And, the States is always a really weird one for me.
Yeah.
That, like, it is so, like, in Ireland, like, most of our political parties are pretty similar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they'll say they're one way or the other. I think the only one that's a bit different is Sinn Féin, which is, like, basically, like, the political leg of the IRA. And the IRA were, like, I mean, depending on who you ask, terrorists or freedom fighters. But it's, like, they're people that I would not...
They were like ISIS back in the day?
You what?
They were like, the IRA was like ISIS of Ireland?
No. Not like to that extent. No, like, ISIS are fucking deplorable. But, basically, the IRA were, like, the people... Like, Ireland is divided, right?
Yeah.
So Ireland was ruled by the English.
Yeah.
And it was kind of slowly taken back.
Yeah.
Like 100 years ago. And they basically got to the point where out of the 32 counties, there's like 6 counties that still remain under British rule. And the IRA was like fighting for that to get them back. But the thing is, they used like terror and violence to do that, which I think is fucking wrong. Right?
Yeah.
And, like, it's not like we were not in a, like, now, I don't want to talk for the North because I don't know what it was like up there.
Yeah.
Like, British and Irish were fighting up there. And because I live in the Republic, I'm quite ignorant to a lot of the stuff that was going on.
Yeah.
But I think the way they approached it was not the right way to do it. Like, But basically, Sinn Féin is like their political party.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to work with them because of that. If you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're like, they know that they were formed of the IRA, or that they're controlled by the IRA, depending on who you ask.
Yeah.
With the exception of them, though, most of our political parties are the same, and Sinn Féin's never been in power.
Yeah.
As far as I know.
Yeah. You mentioned that. You mentioned that you're an English language teacher. What school are you? Are you at a high school or middle school? And why did you pick that job to be in?
Oh no! See, a lot of here is so. In high school, like you'd be, or what we call secondary school, you'd be teaching like English literature.
Yeah.
Whereas like English language teachers are like you teach in private schools, and with immigration here, people's visas. If you're from outside the European Union, your visa is sort of linked to your English language studies. So basically, unless you're doing like a master's or you're in full-time education, or unless you're like on a working holiday visa or something like that, if you want to live here long-term, you have to attend English language school, which is good for me because it means like there's a lot of people now that have a lot of jobs because of this. Yeah. So I teach people the language. That's all I do. So I work in a private school, and I've got 2 different classes that I work with.
Must be. Do you get paid pretty well over there?
Not really. I mean, I'll give you because I'm not bashful about talking about how much I make. Okay, so minimum wage over here. Yeah. Full-time job, you'd be making about like 27,000 euro. Okay. So that's like, what's that, like about maybe 35 grand Canadian? Yeah. Give or take? Yeah. So 27,000, that's a minimum wage job. Okay. So anybody can make that as long as you're working full-time. Yeah. With a degree, because you have to have a college degree to work as an English language teacher. I don't know why, but you do. Yeah. And a teaching qualification, which you can do in about a month. Yeah. They're intense and they're a bit pricey. Yeah. I'm in one of the better paid schools. I'm making about just under 35,000 euro.
That's it?
That's it.
That's crazy.
I know.
That's
like, see, it's weird as well because on paper it looks like I'm making a good wage. Like on paper, it's like I'm making like 22 euro an hour. Yeah. It's like, wow, that's really good. But they only give you 30 hours.
That's crazy.
And I know, and they don't include any kind of class prep time in that, or anything you have to do outside, or anything extra you have to do. And yes, it won't make up a full 40 hours, but it still feels like a normal 40-hour job. You know? Yeah. Like you're still in there like 9 to 5. Yeah. And even like little small things, like, you know, like in a normal office job. Yeah. Like if you need to go to the bathroom. Yeah. Like that's part of your wage. You know what I mean? Whereas like the 15-minute breaks we get in between class, like we get paid for like none of that.
That's crazy.
So like I pee and poop on my own time.
Oh, that they're scamming y'all, man. Like.
No, I mean, like, it's very tight. Like it's literally, like, when you were in class teaching people, that is what you get paid for and nothing else. And, look, it's fine. It's just, it's not that much. And
yeah, something got to change over there, man. Something got to change.
I live, sorry, what'd you say?
Something got to change over there because it's funny enough.
Yeah, I mean,
there's this YouTuber named, I heard of Jordan Theresa?
No.
Okay, so she's a British YouTuber, right? She's like the social video essayist, right? And she talks a lot about how the way that the government's set up in the United Kingdom as a whole is literally one of the few that only benefits the rich. Like trickle-down economics, that's actually a thing in these countries, right? Granted, it's better than the U.S. Or granted, anything's better in the U.S. in terms of just economics, breakdowns and stuff like that, right? Just the whole concept of just the House of Lords. Have you heard of the channel Justin Geezer or something like that?
No.
Okay, so he's a British YouTuber again. He talks a lot about the UK government and sort of UK media figures, right? Uh-huh. And he mentioned that the House of Lords, right? The whole concept of it does not make any sense, right? Because you think about somebody like who was the UK Prime Minister before Boris Johnson? James Cameron, something like that?
Oh, James Cameron's the director. I know. Oh, okay, I should know this. I know he and me. I can't think of his name.
Yeah, right. Yeah. He was appointed to be like a member of that, even though none of his family members were connected, but he was given like some special privilege because Rishi Sunak was part of his government, right, for a little bit, right, near the end.
Yeah.
And it's like it was the most absurd thing, right? Him just breaking it down. It kind of reminds me of the fact that like democracy is like really, really, really flawed, but it's the only thing that we have from like total anarchy. Because all the other ones are just like, again, horrible, right?
No, I get that. I mean, look, I'm very socialist is a weird word because for me, like, when I say socialist, I mean like a democratic society, but everyone pays like high tax, tax the rich, and everything works real fucking well. You know what I mean? Like, again, very left in my thinking, right?
Yeah.
Because again, I grew up like really poor.
Yeah.
And this country took really good care of me.
Yeah.
Like, if I was in the States, I probably would have ended up in a fucking gang and drug addicted and I'd be dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas in this country, I got educated.
Yeah.
I got housed.
Yeah.
And I have free medical care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, like, for me, at the bottom, was still okay.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like now there's... If you end up in these like in a housing project here, yeah, it's rough. And, like, my mom had to actually reject one of those.
Wow.
She got offered to be housed in there, and she was like, "No, because like we won't survive." And they were like, "Okay." And then they gave her another offer, and we got a house, and you know.
Yeah.
But like even with our basic socialism here, which isn't much.
Yeah.
It actually is like so much better than what you see in the States.
Yeah.
Like so much. Like I don't know how people in the States cannot be like, of course we need free healthcare. Like that should just be like the most basic thing. Like, cause you've got an okay health system in Canada, right?
Yeah. But that's not. But again,
do you
also,
have
but
universal healthcare in Canada?
Yeah, we do. But like the thing is, like for certain things, like a hospital bill is like crazy high here for some reason.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because here it's not. I mean, like it's now. I've never had any really bad thing happen to me, thankfully. And if you're below a certain wage, you get free healthcare here, and if you're above it, you don't. But even if you're paying for it, it's not that expensive as far as I know.
Yeah, yeah. So your biggest video, right? The new metal video.
Yeah,
Did you knew that? Like that was when I first like recognized your channel, right? Because I saw your channel on my feed like a year ago, and I was like, I don't know, not many views, I don't know. And then I see that new metal video, I'm like, okay, I gotta watch this. Right, I watched it, and the way you did that video was unbelievable. Right, so was that video always going to be a thing, or was that sort of spur of the moment type of thing?
So basically, last year I decided that I was going to do a video every month. Right.
Yeah.
The year before, I think I only got like 6 videos.
Yeah.
And because I wanted to like really take this seriously, I'm like, and working full time as well. You don't have a massive amount of time.
Yeah.
See, when you get home from work, you're like, oh fuck, I don't want to do it. I just want to sit down and play video games.
Yeah.
Whatever. But it's like, no, like if you want to make a go of this, like do it properly. So I said, okay, what can I do? I'd do one a month, and I was able to do that. So I kind of went, okay, but I'd sort of be picking them. Sort of like I have a list of ideas that sometimes if I think of something, that might make a good video, and then occasionally I'll look at the list and I'll be like, okay, maybe there won't be enough content for that one video, and I'll try to combine them.
Yeah.
So the first year that I really took it seriously, which was last year, I was like, okay, certain videos did well and certain videos didn't.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and think of 12 videos for this year that I want to do, but that also might have mass appeal.
Yeah.
Right? So I made a list, and I know the 12. I know I've just like it's gone a little bit shitty now because I was working on the novel, and I'm almost finished with that.
Yeah.
This month's video fucking didn't get done, so it has to be moved to next month, right?
Yeah.
But even so, I thought, okay, here's 12 topics that I'm going to talk about, which people will probably actually give a shit about. Because some of the videos that I know were just me being like, I want to talk about this, and fuck you, I don't care if I don't care if you care about them or not. This is what I want to talk about. Which isn't good for channel growth. I do appreciate you have to be able to have some sort of mass appeal as well, right?
Yeah.
So I did my list of 11 or 12 videos that I wanted to do, and the first, I'd always wanted to make a video about new metal because even when I was a kid, a teenager, it was one of those very looked down on music genres because it was very trendy.
Yeah, it was.
And it almost like became, I don't know, you know, like when people are gay and they're afraid to tell people they're gay. It almost like became that with me, that I was like, well, I'm a new metal fan, but like the metal elite don't like that. You know, people are like new metal. That's how faggy. You know, like that's, you know, what a shit genre music. You know, and I was like, no, you know what? I'm going to be proud that I'm a new metal fan. I'm going to tell the world how much I fucking love new metal.
Yeah,
and I was kind of spurred on by the fact that in the last year or two, it's gotten a big resurgence. There's a big nostalgia for new metal, and I think it's only now that people are starting to be like, you know what, there was a lot in that music that people didn't really appreciate. And like bands like Limp Bizkit, because Fred Durst was such a douchebag, and I have been a Fred Durst apologist my whole fucking life. I know he's a douchebag. I know this. Still love him, but fucking hell, he's like his own worst enemy. Like I said in the video, he's like the modern or Ronnie Radke from Falling Universe, like the modern Fred Durst. Like he just cannot seem to get out of his own fucking way, right?
It's kind of like Morrissey, right?
I've heard people talk about Morrissey. I don't know why people hate him, but I know he has said some douchebaggy things. I would actually think Fred Durst is worse because he's such a fucking loudmouth. Yeah. Saying that, but because Morrissey's not really in a genre of music I like, I never really kept up with what he was talking about. You know? I think the only thing I remember him saying was that, like, killing an animal is, like, just as bad as killing a person or something like that. And I was like, dude, what are you talking? I mean, I don't think we should kill animals, and I do eat meat, but at the same time, like, no, it's not. It's really fucking not, you know what I mean? Yeah. But anyway, so I thought, okay, that's going to be the first video I'm going to do for the year. Yeah. And see what people think of it, and then I was going to do the trans one after that, and I was going to do PlayStation 1 after that, and my next one's going to be about my time living in Tokyo. Yeah. You lived in Tokyo? I lived in Tokyo for a full year, and again, it was fucking weird. It was not a great experience. Yeah. That's going to be, hopefully, I was supposed to be doing it at the end of this month, but I got sidetracked with the book stuff. So it's going to be the end of June, hopefully. But I could not believe, like, the new metal thing. I knew people would probably like it because new metal had sort of become popular again. Yeah. I still cannot believe that video is doing, like, I think I was saying this to my girlfriend, like, in the last 2 weeks it got another 14,000 views. That's insane. You know what I mean? Like, and like my other two videos, I've done like a few hundred. And the last video, the PlayStation 1 video, the one you commented on. Yeah. Like, to make sure that got done in time to stick to my 1 month schedule that I was on. Yeah. I had to do like 2 full weekends from like morning to night, Saturday and Sunday, 2 weekends to get that out. Yeah. And like, I think 4 of the comments from people are from people I know. Yeah. Now 5 because I now know you. Yeah. But like, I worked so fucking hard on that video. Yeah. And the Tickle versus Giggle video, and people still comment on the fucking new metal one, and part of me is kind of going, oh, dude, like, come on. Yeah. But at the same time, I'm very flattered that people like that one so much. Yeah. As well as that, I think because of the fact, I think it's a good thing to kind of make big, bold statements online, because I think that gets more attention. Not to garner hate, mind you, but the fact that I originally was going to call it, like, I don't know, like new metal, a great genre, new metal, a fantastic something. I was like, no, I'm not going to call it new metal, the greatest genre of music in the world. Originally, I was going to call it the greatest genre of music in the history of the world, but I thought that was a bit too long. Yeah. And it's amazing the amount of people, just because of that title, will comment to go, no, it's not, new metal sucks. And that helps engagement. And I didn't do it for that reason. I didn't do it to, like, rage bait. But it's amazing the amount of people that if you make a very bold statement, there'll be people there to be like, fuck you, you're wrong. And new metal especially, they really, really gets under people's skin when they don't like it. I don't know why. You know, one thing I found very interesting about that video was, again, like, I looked at your subscriber count, right? It was like almost 4,000 at this point. And I was just wondering, like, do you now have an obligation to your audience about certain stuff, or you're just kind of winging it as sort of time goes on? Okay, so that new metal video is only one of two videos that did well. My first success was about 10 months ago.
Yeah.
With I think it was called The Shit Show of YouTube Ads. And again, that was just something I wanted to talk about. I didn't think people were going to give a shit about it.
Yeah.
And I went from having, I think, like 44 subscribers to over 1,000.
Wow.
In like a matter of like a week or two.
Wow.
And I was like, holy shit, I've made it. Like, you know, because up to that point, like, I think that was like maybe like my 8th video, 7th, 8th video. And like, nobody gave a shit. Like, I was putting crazy stupid, like, 30, 40 hours into a video.
Yeah.
And like, in the first 24 hours, I'd literally get like 7 views.
Yeah.
And I was so fucking demoralizing, you know?
Yeah.
And when that video broke, and I got like 27,000 views and I got 1,000 subscribers, I thought that exact same thing. I'm like, well, should I do something different, or do I have an obligation? And I thought, well, no, because if people are going to watch me just to be me and just to speak my mind, I might as well just keep doing that.
Yeah.
So like, I don't think any creator has an obligation to their audience.
Yeah.
Except that I don't think you should. You know when people like. I think Leafy is here did this a bit back when he was on YouTube. Like, I think he sort of directed people to harass other people. I don't think you should do that. I think the only obligation you should have for your audience is like to like not rile them up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think you don't have control of your audience, but at the same time you don't have to be like, yeah, fucking let's get this guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's the only thing. And just in general, just like try your best not to be a shitty person.
You know, that's the thing, bro. That's the thing. Like, it sounds easy, but there's certain things that we think about, certain opinions that we hold, and you just can't really sort of control your personal reactions. I mean, I remember, do you know, you must know, Millie Bobby Brown, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Right, go on Reddit. I don't know if you use Reddit?
Yeah. It's one of the few things I actually use.
Okay. Whenever her name pops up, it's outside of like the Stranger Things subreddit, right? Mm-hmm. It is constant, and I'm telling you, constant negativity over things she has not said, over things she's not done, right? Like, people make these fan fictions about her, and it's like, she's not the only one too, right? It's like, she hasn't done anything to you guys. Right, sure, she may not be as passionate about acting as like an Al Pacino, but nobody really is like that. So that's an unfair type of standard. And she's 21 years. She's the same age as me.
Like, people get really weird about... Like, I remember one of my favorite directors, Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
Talks about this a lot, and he's a one... I mean, I don't think his films in the last years have gotten a bit shit.
Yeah.
But, like, he talks about this because he's a wonderful podcaster.
Yeah. That
people will get so angry at him for making a movie, and he's like, "What did I do to you?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he'll be like, just because he created something, or like not to either what the standard they wanted or not what they thought.
Yeah.
He should, make, and that kind of stuff. Like, and I think it's the same kind of like that people like Millie Bobby Brown's a fine actress. She's, like you say, she's not Al Pacino, and she's not probably ever gonna be, but like, that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, that's absolutely fine. Like, there are plenty of actors in the world that are just okay. You know what I mean? Like, and people get very locked in on people for no particular reason. And it's one of those things I actually don't know why people get like that.
Yeah, I think that might be a sort of a potential video of that you might want to do, right?
That's actually a good idea.
I mean, if I were to give you a title, I'll say like the character assassination of Millie Bobby Brown.
I mean, not even just about her. I mean, like, okay, I did this in my class actually because I try to always. I always think that critical thinking should be taught in school.
Yeah,
right?
Of course.
Because like it's amazing the amount. Like I did this example. What was it? I think it was this story about. It was from like 7 years ago now.
Yeah.
Post Malone was at a meet and greet.
Yes.
And a fan said that he smelled so bad that she had to step outside and vomit.
Oh, wow.
Right? And I saw this as, like on YouTube communities, like, or as like a post, right?
Yeah.
And so many people were like, oh, I knew it, she's so disgusting, blah, 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 blah. And like I said in the Blurred Lines video, the second that you kind of go, oh my God, really? That's the moment you have to go, wait, I need to check this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I Googled it, and I found the original post from like 7 years ago on Twitter.
Yeah.
That exact same one.
Yeah.
Underneath, it just said, lol, joke. That was it.
Wow.
It was just someone fucking around. But somebody else at some point took that and reposted it, and then it got reposted and reposted and
Wow.
reposted. And then here it is 7 years later on YouTube, and people just believe it.
It's
You know what I mean?
scary,
Like
how like social media has been sort of weaponized. Like
it's fucking awful. Like
it's awful, but like I think about this all the time. Like I think somebody else said this, but like social media is the bomb that Oppenheimer was fearing all along. It wasn't Hiroshima or Nagasaki. It was social media. Because it's the same exact thing. Your career could be ruined in an instant, and you can't. And it's be something that you haven't even done.
I know, and it's weird as well. Like, and by the way, I do know that like people really do get raped, and it's fucking terrible when people actually do get raped.
Yeah.
And like I know it's mostly women, and it's fucking like they can't. It's one of the worst fucking things, if not the worst thing you can do to someone, right?
Yeah.
But the second, it's almost like when someone gets accused of rape.
Yeah.
It becomes almost like the witch hunt, like
Yeah.
the witch trials, right? So the second that you say you're a witch, that's what everyone thinks of you. And even if like afterwards you go, well, that actually wasn't true.
Yeah.
Not everyone's going to realize that. You know what I mean? It's like the second that it's almost like you plant the idea in someone's mind.
Yeah.
That's it.
I always say like
I know it wasn't rape, but remember what happened with Johnny Depp?
Yeah.
Like, I remember that from like 10 years ago when that started.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, oh fuck, like I thought he was a good dude. You know what I mean? Like, and just this idea that like that he was an abuser and that he physically, and I'm not saying he hadn't done anything, but like, most of that shit was just made up.
You know, it's one of those things like, you know, it's one of those things like our first impression with somebody is often our last impressions, right? So you don't, because people are not going to go back and like go through the whole thing and sort of try to change their minds on something. They're going to think about that person the same way they thought when they first seen it or watched it or listened to it, right?
Exactly, because if you think of like, if like 1 million people hear the bad thing, maybe only 10,000 people or 100,000 people are going to hear the revised better thing.
Yeah.
So it means you've still got like 90 to 99% of people who are only going to remember, like you said, the original thing.
Yeah.
And that is a big problem.
It is a big problem. So, it's interesting that you mentioned that, again, you put a lot of time in your videos, but have you ever scrapped a video? Like you had to finish and you just like, this doesn't work.
No, not from like, I've never gotten one like into development, but I have started one and sort of thought about it for a week. Like it was sort of on my list of things I was going to do from, I had a list made from last year.
Yeah.
But I sort of like went back and forth a bit. Like I changed a lot of them.
Yeah.
And one of them was about like I've got now and by the way I've been officially diagnosed with narcolepsy. That's like a doctor's told me I have that.
Okay.
No one's ever told me that I have OCD, right?
Yeah.
But I do have a lot of trouble with obsessive thinking.
Yes.
And I've never gotten a proper name for it. Like my last therapist did say, okay, it's just obsessive thoughts.
Yeah.
But I refer to it as OCD.
Yeah.
Right, but it's not like I have to switch on and off like light switches, but I will have a lot of disturbing thoughts.
Yeah.
Sometimes about like really stupid shit, you know what I mean? Like it's almost like a thought will get stuck in my mind, right?
Yeah.
And I was going to do a video about living with OCD.
Yeah.
And the more, like what I'll do is I will sort of edit something in my head for a week or two before I actually sit down and write it. So when I do write it, it's much easier to write because I know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah.
And I sort of batted it back and forth for a week. And then the more I edited in my head, I thought, this is just going to be really depressing. And I don't want to talk about this, you know what I mean? And like one thing that and my mom actually always made sure to say this as well. She's like, remember that like people watch your videos to be entertained and to be uplifted. Like you don't have to be like self-indulgent in your misery.
Like trauma dumping?
Say again?
Like trauma dumping? You're sort of dumping your trauma on people?
Yeah, basically that. And by the end, when I sort of had this laid out, I think I started writing it, maybe had like a few hundred words written.
Yeah.
I was like, not that nobody's going to watch this, but everyone's going to feel like shit after this.
Yeah.
I want people to, like, you know, leave my channel, like, with a smile on their face.
Yeah.
To, like, gain something from it.
Yeah.
So basically, I've reworked that idea for this year.
Yeah.
That I'm going to briefly talk about my OCD, or whatever you call it, at the beginning.
Yeah.
And how that affected me in the era of achievements. You know, like when, like, Xbox 360,
Yeah.
PS3.
Yeah.
And, like, basically what my OCD drove me to do.
Yeah.
With video game achievements.
Yeah.
And just a few... It's going to be... Like, it's not going to be anything super serious, but just that, like...
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I used to think, oh, it would be so cool to have, like a trophy that you get in a game, and it would show you everything you did. And then when that actually finally happened, it became, like, my hell. Because it's like...
Yeah.
You can't just sit down and enjoy and clear a game anymore. It's like, oh, now there's extra things you have to do.
Yeah.
And that really fucked with my OCD.
Yeah, it is.
And to the point now where I just have all of my notifications turned off my PlayStation 5 because I don't want to know about it anymore.
Yeah.
Like I will sometimes glance at what an achievement or a trophy is, but like I don't want to be told when I get a trophy because I know it'll just make it fucking worse if I do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the only video that I kind of scrapped that I was intending to do.
That's pretty. I think that video would have done well. I don't know, as well as the new metal, but that's something that I don't hear people talk about.
As well as that, like, I actually just really did not want to do it. Like, when I actually sat down, because I thought, like, I'm gonna feel like shit at the end of this as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, unlike like the blurred lines, the trans thing or whatever, like I felt good after I did that because it sort of got it out of my head.
Yeah.
But with the OCD one, it was like, I don't feel that this would be therapeutic for me. I just think I'd feel worse at the end of it.
Yeah.
So I stopped.
You know what? Here's the thing, right? Like,
yeah.
I actually, here's the thing. I have a little bit of OCD, but it's more about, like, people and images than, like, things.
In what way?
In what way? So I'll give you an example, right? Again, okay, the reason why I mentioned Millie before, because I have a massive crush on Millie Bobby Brown. Like, a massive. You don't understand. Like you on my Instagram page, like, half my posts are about her. Okay. And this is kind of on some, like, simping shit, but, like...
That's fine. Like, you simp, you be proud.
Yeah. And I'll never forget this. I'll tell you a story. So, for some reason... Because when I first moved back to Canada, right? Right, we were in this is still during the pandemic, right? It's 2021, right?
Yeah.
And I vividly remember this, right? When we first got into our actual house that I'm in, because I live in Port Credit, Mississauga. It's right nearby Lake Ontario, right? Lake Ontario is, like, the biggest lake in all of, like, Canada, essentially. Mm-hmm. Right? So, for some reason, I'm like, I think it was like August something, right? It was middle of August. And for some reason, I'm like, I'm going to walk to Square One. Because Square One is one of the biggest malls in all of North America. Right?
Okay.
Everybody goes there. You know what I'm saying? Anytime you go there, it's always busy. Right? It's always packed. And my dad and my brother, they were, like, coaching, like, youth soccer at that time. And for some reason, I just, like, I'm going to go for a walk. And then I started walking, and it was like... It was kind of still daytime. It was like 6 p.m., right? And it was 7, and I started seeing the sun set, right? And I'm like, oh, shit. Like, oh, I can't do this because I'm going to be walking at night. You don't know who's going to be out there. But this is crazy. So I see somebody biking by, and for a split second, that person, I think it was a woman, looked exactly like Millie Bobby Brown. I'm not even joking, bro. Split second. It was like time just slowed for that 5 seconds. It was like an anime scene. It was like, it's just slowed down. It was like a cinematic. It was like, what the hell just happened? Next thing you know, I look around. She's gone. I'm like, was that actually her? Like, for a split second, I'm like, no way she'd be biking in this area. No way.
Yeah.
Right? Because she was filming Ranger Thing season 4, I think, was in Atlanta. Right?
Okay.
And the next thing you know, I go on Instagram, and next thing you know, it was like, rest is history. It's so bizarre. Like, when I tell that story to people, they don't believe me, but, like, it's funny how things work sometimes, you know?
So hold on, was she in your area?
That person, she was just biking. I know that person.
Okay, so it wasn't actually her. Like,
it wasn't her. Obviously, it wasn't her.
Okay.
right?
No,
But that split second, that person looked exactly like her,
that
right?
happened to me once with Jonathan Davis, lead singer of Korn.
Yeah.
I walked into my local Chinese takeaway.
Yeah.
And like a guy who was like the fucking spitting image of Jonathan Davis walked out, and at like 14, I was like a massive Korn fan, and I was like, oh my god. And I said to the guy behind the counter was wearing a suicidal tendencies t-shirt, or like a punk band from back in the day, and I was like, do you know who Korn is? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, do you know Jonathan Davis? I go, yeah. And the guy you just served, you know. And I came back, I think the guy said, he said he's going to come back maybe on Friday. And I remember I came back for like 3 hours and sat in the Chinese takeaway to see if he'd come back.
Oh my god!
And he didn't. And I
was broken. You know what?
He told me as well that he came back in another day.
Yeah.
And he'd asked him about it, and the guy was being really coy about if he was Jonathan Davis or not. Like, he didn't say, yes, I am, or no, I'm not. But it probably wasn't him.
Yeah,
but
you know what's funny, dog?
Like you, Millie Bobby Brown, I was so convinced it was him.
Yeah, it's you know, I'll tell you a story. So, in Canada, right? Like the biggest, like, because we have our own equivalent of like comic cons, right? And I know you posted about going to one. I think Dublin.
Yeah, it was my first ever con, the Dublin one.
Right, and again, same thing. I go on the website. And I didn't even just check. I saw her name. I saw Millie Bobby Brown. Okay, I'm going. I don't care how much it costs. I want to see her. Okay? It was $60. My mom's like, are you sure about this? I'm like, yeah. She's there.
16.
Huh?
60 or 16?
60.
60. Okay, that's a bit.
Yeah. And this is 2023. And I went there. Right? And next thing you know, I go on my phone and, well, she couldn't come. I'm like, what? I felt bummed out, but then again, like, that was probably my best experience because it forced me to talk to other people that were sort of like-minded in a way.
Sure, yeah.
And I met some great people in the comic space, like Fred Kennedy and Katie Swansky. I don't know if you know those people. They're like indie comic people in Canada. They're like really underground.
Yeah.
Right? So that was super cool. I think I saw like John Bernthal and Vincent D'Onofrio
I love him.
And I think I saw the guy who's playing Miles Morales in Spider-Verse. Forgot his name. I saw him. That was pretty cool.
I've not. I know who you mean, but I've not kept up with the Spider-Verse at all.
And it was that was a great experience. That was a super great experience.
Sounds really good.
Yeah,
Real quick, I gotta go in a minute. Do you like video games?
I love video games.
Okay, now, so I want to ask you this before I go, right?
Yeah.
A lot of the people I talk to, a lot of my friends are like younger than me, right?
Yeah.
And you're 21, so there's 18 years between us, right?
Yeah, there is.
39, right?
Yeah.
I grew up with the first console that was out when I was like really young was the Nintendo Entertainment System, like the original NES, right?
Yeah.
And I got to see like a lot of different developments in the video game space.
Yes.
Now there was a lot of that was just because I was a kid, right? I really enjoyed what was going on. I do understand that.
Yeah.
But even into my 20s, there was like a lot of really exciting new things happening in the video games. You know, like I think when I was like 19, I think Resident Evil 4 came out, and that was like a big deal. Like, you know, as it went on, like even a lot of stuff in the Xbox 360 and the rise of the indie scene was like a big deal.
Yeah.
For me, the last 10 years of gaming has been really boring. Like really, really boring. And I'm trying to figure out, and it's going to be one of my later videos for this year. I'm trying to figure out, has gaming actually gotten worse, or am I just fucking old?
I think...
And I was wondering, what is your opinion of the last,
10 years.
Decade of video games, especially, the PS5, Xbox Series X
I think era, I think what's contributing to that, I think, is the console-exclusive games. I never got that concept.
Or that they have...
I hate that. I wanted to play... you don't understand, I'm a big fan of, The Last of Us, right?
Yeah.
And here's the thing, I have an Xbox One, right?
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, you're telling me that Naughty Dog can't even pay up a little bit to make an Xbox One version of that game. Now, is it going to run as smoothly as the PS5 or 4? No, it's not. But at least give me that option, right?
Well, Last of Us was originally a PS3 game, and it ran fine.
Yeah.
Like it ran absolutely perfect on the PS. Because remember, I borrowed my mate's copy from the PS3, and it was perfect. I mean, it might have been 30 frames a second.
Yeah.
These days, that's like a dirty word. Right?
Yeah.
I've become a bit of a snob at my frame rate. But no, I know what you're saying. It's see, for me, like, I don't know what it is. Just so many times I will get onto a game.
Yeah.
And I'll play for 10 minutes, and I'll be like, it'll just be boring. You know what I mean? It'll just be like, like there'll be so many cinematics, and there'll be so much story, but like not even like an interesting story.
Yeah.
Like, I'll give you one example. Like, there's an indie game, I've got it in front of me, called Anno
Yes.
Anno Mutationum.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Gorgeous looking game.
Yeah.
Really beautiful. Kind of like a pixel art kind of look, but in a 3D space. Really beautiful. Yeah. It has one of the most dog shit stories. Like, everything that they're talking about in it is so dull.
Yeah, it is.
And I'm trying to push myself to get through it because I love the look of it so much. The combat is not anything to write home about, but it's okay.
Yeah.
But, like, it is like... It's like scraping my face off. It's so dull. Like, the characters have just, like, they've no chemistry.
Yeah.
The girl has, like, some sort of disease or something, and I don't know, like...
Yeah.
What that's about. The first hour they introduce like 12 different characters. It's like really bad story pacing.
Yeah.
And even like I know like a lot of people fucking praised Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah.
And again, very, very what do you call it? Very impressive game.
Yeah.
But like it takes you 4 hours to get out of the first section.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Like
4 hours. Sometimes like simplicity is the best. I mean, I remember have you heard of this game called Asterix and Obelix?
I know the series. I don't think I ever played any of the games though.
So I was obsessed with that game when I was a kid. I used to play on my PSP. And it's a very simple game. But it's so fun because, again, like, you get these rewards, you're fighting these Roman giants. It's like, it's crazy. Right? Another game I really liked was Wipeout. It was like this, like, racing game.
Oh, yeah, I remember that from the PS1, actually. Yeah, the futuristic...
Yeah, I love that game because, again, it was a very simple game. I mean, it looked great, but there's no story to it. But it was just about racing, right? I think the issue I find is that I think a lot of these video game developers are kind of too terminally online. So they just kind of overthink the simple stuff, and they kind of get caught up in their own way.
Sure.
Right? That's one symptom. Another symptom is, capitalism and, profit over creativity. That's also a big problem as well.
Really like microtransactions and the whole live service thing, like that has just become like fucking hell. Like that's just it has not been to our benefit.
Yeah.
And I get it. Like I get it. It's a business, they wanted to try and maximize profits, but at the same time, like always online single player is the single most bullshitty thing that the video industry has done in the last ever.
Yeah.
Like because it's completely not necessary.
Yeah. Do you watch any sports?
No, I'm a big. My knees are getting a little bit at me because, like I say, I'm advancing in age. But whenever I get the chance, I love playing sports.
Yeah.
When I was in Tokyo, actually, my friend brought me to an American football match, the first one and actually only one I've ever been to. I really liked watching that.
Yeah.
But besides that, I don't know. I wouldn't sit down and watch American football on TV.
Yeah.
If I
you don't want soccer?
No.
What?
Soccer, we call it football.
Football. You don't watch football?
It's the most boring game in the world.
Oh my god, that's
so slow.
Yeah. I get what you're saying, man, but...
And by the way, I wouldn't mind playing soccer. I'd actually give it a go, but, there's way more sports, like badminton, tennis, American football, if I got a chance to play that.
Alright, so how you chose a team to be a fan of in the NFL?
No,
I'll give you two teams, okay? These are kind of obvious because they've been, dominant the last decade or so. The Chiefs with Mahomes, that's a really entertaining team. Again, and I would say Baltimore with Lamar Jackson. I think that also would kind of because he runs all the time. They're always quick, right? So
okay, so I used to give people shit about wearing band T-shirts like musical bands, like, and them not knowing the band.
Yeah.
I cannot give them shit about that anymore because one of my favorite pieces of clothing is a San Francisco 49ers NFL jersey.
Yes.
And I know fucking nothing about the 49ers.
I would also choose them as well. Like the 49ers, like they got some dogs on that team though. Like that would be a good team to cheer for because they're probably going to be pretty good this season. They were injured the hell last season though.
The only downside is though, I bought that when I visited the States once. I did a little trip to California. I bought that when I was in Santa Cruz seeing Friends of the Family, and then because they don't have a team of their own. That's the closest they have is the 49ers.
Yeah.
I was like, oh cool, it's red and black. They're my favorite colors.
Yeah.
Then when I actually went to San Francisco is one of the weirdest fucking places. Like,
yeah, it is.
I loved San Diego. I quite liked LA, though it's a bit mixed.
Yeah.
Santa Cruz, lovely place right beside San Jose.
Yeah.
San Francisco is fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how it's so expensive to live there. It's the weirdest fucking place. Weird energy there.
It is for sure.
Like,
I totally get what you're saying.
The north side of the docks, they're like beautiful up there, but like anything below the docks is just fucking strange. I don't know. It's even hard to explain why.
Yeah. There is some interesting things going on there.
Saying that Berkeley, it's right beside it. Berkeley is gorgeous.
Yeah.
So beautiful. And actually, I was briefly in Oakland as well. Actually, and I know everyone says Oakland's really dangerous. I liked Oakland.
Yeah.
Didn't get mugged. Didn't get attacked. Had a pleasant few hours in Oakland.
All right.
Bought a burrito.
Okay. So, all right. So, who was your celebrity crush when you were younger, or you can say one now? I don't care.
Okay.
I know you got a girlfriend, but like.
No, she's fine. We talk openly about these things. She's small. She's drawing me, I think, in the corner. She's a crazy good artist.
Yeah.
Okay, my celebrity crush, big one I had when I was a kid, was Sarah Jessica Parker.
Oh, yes.
Sarah Jessica Parker before she was in Sex and the City.
Yes.
She was in Witches of East. No, not Witches of Eastwick. Sorry, Hocus Pocus.
Yes.
And Ed Wood as well, which is my favorite Tim Burton film of all time.
Yeah.
I fancied her so much.
Yeah.
And then once she got in Sex and the City, I don't know why, I just really went off her.
Yeah.
Like, Sex and the City, fine show, nothing wrong with Sex and the City, but it just...
Yeah.
I don't know.
Different.
I really liked, early 90s Sarah Jessica Parker. That was my big childhood crush. Besides her, now I'm actually not sure. I know after I get off this call, I'm going to think of about 10 people that are, really fancy.
What about Kate Beckinsale?
Who?
Kate Beckinsale.
I feel like I should know who that is.
She's in Underworld?
Oh, Beckinsale. Yeah, I wouldn't know her, though.
Alright.
But the other girl, what do you call it? Alien Covenant.
What?
Girl from that who was in Fantastic Beasts. I always forget her name, though.
Felicity Jones? I think, I don't know.
Catherine Waterston.
Oh, okay.
So I like kind of I'm someone of extremes, right? Like I either like really short girls,
yeah,
or like really tall girls. I'll either like one or the other. Same way I'll either really like really girly girls or really boyish girls.
You know, I'm like that too. Like
he's like tall and boyish. So.
Like I'm like that too, kind of like in the sense of just like my crushes are all over the place. Like I like again, I told you about Millie Bobby Brown. Like I love like Haley Steinfeld. I love Ray. She's like a UK singer. I don't know if you know her or not. Bella Ramsey is another one. I know. Emma Corrin. Emma Darcy. A lot of them are like kind of non-binary. That's sort of that gray area. For some reason I like her. Right. Another one, Halle Berry. Angela Bassett.
She's cute.
Yeah.
What's your face? I know she's a bit young, and I know I'm curving 40 here. What's her face? Jenna Ortega.
Yeah.
I think
Jenna Ortega's cool.
Yeah.
Billie Eilish, Lana Del Rey, Beyonce, Rihanna. I think younger Madonna.
Madonna. I do kind of think okay, Madonna's looking really weird now, but at the same time, she's really old.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously.
I know I'm going to think about loads of people. Jesus Christ, she looks weird. I'm googling her here. Fucking hell, she made some bad choices with her plastic surgery. Holy shit.
Saoirse Ronan.
I like her, but I just, you know, when you don't respect someone's craft.
Yeah.
Like I think she's she's one of those people who, just make sure I'm thinking about who. Yeah, she's one of those people who, you know when someone's really mediocre and they get really famous.
Yeah.
I get a bit resentful of people like that. And I think again, very pretty, but she's like such a mediocre actor.
You don't like her?
No, she's just like, hold on.
Just
want to check that she's the person I'm thinking of. Saoirse Ronan, Grand Budapest Hotel.
Yeah, she's in a lot of good movies. I understand she might not be like...
I love Grand Budapest Hotel. She was the worst fucking thing in that movie.
Yeah.
She was so fucking basic. Like, oh my god.
Yeah,
I do not like her as an actor at all. And like, me not liking her as an actor means I can't really see how attractive she is. You know what I mean? Because I'm just like, you're just not good at your job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's
yeah.
What's my face, actually? The porn star, I can't think of anyone's name today. She was...
Wait, you watch porn?
She was like number one on Pornhub and those things for like a long time.
Wait, you watch porn?
Do you not watch porn?
I don't. Like, I can't get in that headspace.
I mean, I'm sort of like someone who can take or leave porn. I'm not, I cannot think of her name.
That's crazy.
Anyway, she's like really cute, right? Really, really cute porn star. Her name just escapes me.
Oh, gosh.
But the thing is, though, when I watch her, she looks like someone who hates her job.
Yeah.
And that made me feel like really bad, but also the fact that like it always looked like she was just kind of putting up with what she was doing. And I'm like, well, if you don't like your job, don't do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's one of those
and I
things.
couldn't see how attractive she was. All I could see was someone who was bad at her job.
Yeah.
And that really, really affects me.
Yeah.
When I don't think people are good at what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I lose a lot of respect for them.
Okay. My last... Okay, so... My last... So, obviously, the interview is probably gonna end soon. But I'm gonna do...
That's fine, that's fine.
So...
Yeah, 'cause I gotta head off.
So I'm gonna do, like, this Q&A session, okay?
Okay, go on.
Meaning, like... Not Q&A, but I'm gonna sort of do, like, a little game where I give you two people... Or two things, or two franchises. You have to pick who's better. You can tell a story about why or whatever.
I did listen to bits of some of your other podcasts. And
yeah.
You're talking about like Marvel or DC. There's a lot of stuff I will not care about, and I'm sorry if that doesn't make good context.
Okay, I'm fine with that. I can adjust.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, go on.
Okay. All right. Chester Bennington or Kurt Cobain?
Oh, that's a tough one. That's a really tough because I love them both for different reasons.
Yeah.
Kurt Cobain, just because I think he was more important to music as a whole, even though I do love Chester Bennington.
Yeah, rest in peace.
And absolutely, and I know I said in my video I don't love Linkin Park. I really like them, but
yeah,
I do. They still do have a special place in my heart. Now I'm gonna have to say Kurt Cobain just because.
Yeah. Even
though Chester Bennington was more important to me growing up, Kurt Cobain has just I will listen to some Nirvana songs, even though Nirvana would not be my favorite band or anything.
Yeah.
They have a song called Lithium.
Yes.
And someone pointed out, what fucking key is that in? You know what I mean? Like the notes that they use, or that Kurt Cobain uses in that guitar line.
Yeah.
It's so they should not go together, and they do.
He's a genius.
And I was listening to In Bloom the other day, and again, such a weird combination of chords, but he makes it catchy. I'm like, he was a genius. He was an absolute genius.
Yeah, he was.
So yeah, Kurt Cobain for that reason.
Okay. Kendrick Lamar or Kanye West?
I know very little about Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
I actually could not name you Kendrick Lamar's song. But at the same time, I despise Kanye West. So and by the way, I actually used to enjoy Kanye West, Stronger.
Yeah.
Love that song, and actually Gold Digger is such a whopper good tune.
Yeah.
So even though I despise what Kanye has become, I have to say Kanye.
Okay.
Just because I actually know and like some of his music.
Okay. Drake or Lil Wayne?
I know very little of either of their music. I have to say Lil Wayne because I know anything I've listened to. Because I know I have heard bits and pieces of Lil Wayne songs and thought they're okay.
Yeah.
Anything I've listened to by Drake, I hate it. I cannot. And like nothing against the guy, I don't understand how he became that famous. I think his stuff is just really not good.
Okay. Tupac or DMX?
Probably Tupac.
Okay.
I mean, I do like there's like X Gonna Give It To You and Where the Hood At. I love those songs with DMX.
He made a song with Marilyn Manson though too. Like,
hey, what?
DMX made a song with Marilyn Manson too. That's pretty good.
With Marilyn Manson?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know that. Yeah. No, I know less by Tupac, but I know he's made more content than I enjoy.
Yeah.
But anytime that someone puts on anything by Tupac, I'm like, you know what, I dig this.
Okay.
So I'd say Tupac.
Okay.
It's the same as the Cobain thing. I think he contributed much more to music than DMX did. DMX was good, but like Tupac is like legendary.
Okay. Marvel or DC?
That was the one that I heard you say. Like, when I was a kid, I loved Batman.
Yeah.
I wasn't big into the comics, but I loved
Yeah.
Batman animated series from like 92 or 93, whatever it was. Loved the Batman video games.
Yeah.
I loved the Tim Burton Batmans, even though I wasn't like watching them for a while because they were, a little bit like I would have been like 5 when they came out, 5 or actually younger. But as a whole, like for what they've produced, like I liked the first what do you call them? First wave, second wave?
First phase.
Sorry, that.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the first phase of Marvel movies.
Yeah.
I just think they really oversaturated it because like at the beginning it was special when a Marvel movie came out, and now it's like there's like 3 every year. No, but like it just became like who fucking cares anymore? You know what I mean? Like I went to see Endgame when it came out because like that was a big deal.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy the first part. What was the one before Endgame?
Yeah.
You remember like Avengers Part 3 and 4 and
yeah.
What was Endgame? What was
Infinity War? Then
Infinity War. I fucking hated Infinity War and I loved Endgame. And it might have been because I went to see Endgame in the cinema, but I honestly thought it was actually a good movie.
Yeah.
Also, fucking hell, I love female superheroes. Anything with like a strong woman character, I love it. Right?
Yeah.
Like I'm big, and inside I say this in the trans video as well. I'm a big girl inside. Like there's a huge female side of me inside.
Yeah.
Right? I was living in England when I went to see Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Now, if there was ever a film that was made for me, right? Like basically like a female Superman.
Yeah.
With what's her name?
Brie Larson.
Alison Brie and Brie Larson. Which one's which? Brie Larson.
Yeah.
Brie Larson. Now she'd be a massive crush. Like I think she's gorgeous, right?
Yeah. I'm with you on that.
And it's set in like 1995, I think. For me, that's like ultimate nostalgia. That's like, for me, like 93, 94, 95, they were the best years ever. I went to this film so excited, and they gave you like a little mini poster when you went in of Captain Marvel, and I was holding it, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be so good. And it was one of the fucking most dog shit films I have ever seen. It was all about like feminism and like, stick up for the girls. You know why they call it a cockpit, don't you? Ha ha ha. It was a fucking boring movie.
Yeah.
It was so fucking boring. And when I left the cinema, I threw out my poster.
That's
how like you had such a good setup and you had a film that was about fucking nothing. Same with Wonder Woman. I went to see Wonder Woman being like, holy shit, this is gonna be so fucking hype. And I fell asleep in it.
Oh my god.
I still don't know how Wonder Woman ends because, like, I woke up at the very end of it. I missed about 40 minutes of it. There was a scene in that movie where she, like, sacks a village that had been taken over by the Nazis.
Yeah.
And that was, like, fucking amazing. And I'm like, why was the rest of the film not this good?
Yeah.
Like, why was the rest of the film just fucking boring nothing burger?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's fine if you want to make your film political or, gender politics, but that cannot be the focus. Like the focus has to be a good story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, that's a bit of a side rant.
Yeah. It's
Marvel,
fine.
Just because I think they've produced more good content than DC. I'm a big film guy. Like I love video games, but films are just like are my heart. And Marvel have produced some really, really good movies.
All right.
Really excellent. And fucking Deadpool. I love Deadpool.
Yeah. Christopher Nolan or Stanley Kubrick?
Christopher Nolan. I do enjoy Stanley Kubrick. It's just that, like, I think it might be like the more that I find out about Stanley Kubrick, the more I hate him.
Yeah.
Like he tortures people, and again, some of the films have been great. Like Shining's great.
Yeah.
Actually, no. Saying that though, read the book Lolita.
Yeah.
Very controversial book.
Yeah.
There's two versions of Lolita, the movie.
Yeah.
Stanley Kubrick's version of Lolita is fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Now I know he was I think it was still during the Hays Code, so they couldn't really show much.
Yeah.
But the version that was released in like '97, I think, with Jeremy Irons is really good.
Yeah.
Really, really good.
Yeah.
The Stanley Kubrick version is just bad.
Okay.
Really, really bad. But a lot of his films are good. A lot of his films are great. I love Christopher Nolan, though. I love the Batmans. Memento, the movie is one of my favorite movies of all time by Christopher Nolan.
Yeah. All right. Gary Oldman or Christian Bale?
Just gonna have to go with Gary. And again, I love Christian Bale. Love American Psycho and what he did with Batman. But like Gary Oldman in Leon, the Professional.
Yeah.
He's one of the best bad guys of all time.
Yeah.
Great experience. Black in the Harry Potter films.
Yeah.
I know he's in more stuff than that, but I cannot think of it. It's just like Christian Bale's an amazing actor, but Gary Oldman's like with the Tupac thing, like he's iconic. He's legendary. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Jay-Z or Snoop Dogg?
Never been a massive fan of either, but I always I never, with the exception of like 99 Problems by Jay-Z, I never really cared about anything Jay-Z did. Like, I love that song. It's one of my favorite rap songs of all time. But in general, I just like Snoop Dogg more. And again, I couldn't name you a whole lot of like Snoop Dogg stuff, but like every time I hear, I know it's not his song, but every time I hear like Still Dre, he's just got such a nice timbre to his voice. You know what I mean? Like, it's just there's something so kind of comforting every time I hear Snoop. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Arca or Kazakhstan?
Okay, I don't even know what they are.
Okay, bro. Alright.
No, tell me. I want to know. What are they?
They're electronic artists. So Arca is like, Arca's trans, right? A lot of her music is around that type of thing, but it's not her whole thing. She used to be like a hip hop, then she sort of turned into sort of a hyper pop artist. I don't know if you heard it. Kazakhstan is just straight up dark techno. Think of like Daft Punk, but like darker. He's like that.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
Okay, so sorry, I've never heard of either.
Okay, that's fine. Daft Punk or Justice?
Who are Justice?
They're like a French duo. They're kind of like Walmart Daft Punk.
Again, known Daft Punk for years, and I plenty of Daft Punk songs I like. Basically, the entire. Oh fuck! My mind's gone blank. Discovery. So what that album's called? That entire thing was great.
Yeah.
The song I like called Short Circuit was really
that's fire.
catchy. Yeah. It's like I used to do breakdancing. I used to love breakdancing.
Okay.
It's such a good beat. So.
All right.
Yeah, Daft Punk all the way.
Okay. Toronto or Chicago?
Okay, so I was thinking of moving to Canada a few years back.
Yeah.
And Toronto just, like, it was an option for me.
Yeah.
And it just looked so cold and so bleak. And I thought, I don't think I'm going to be able to live there.
Yeah.
And the only experience I have I've never visited there. I've actually never visited Canada. I've always really wanted to. When I was doing my little trip to LA, California, I had a stopover in Chicago.
Yeah.
And now I know this is only the airport and the airport staff.
Yeah.
But the airport staff were so shitty and so aggressive.
Oh yeah.
In a way that I've been to like many different countries, like, you know, living different places, and you know, I've not super well traveled, but I would have been in like many dozens of airports throughout the world. I have never been talked to by, like, for no reason as well, by airport staff the way Chicago airport staff talks to us. Yeah. And like, just really, like, kind of, you know, when you're in an airport, you're sort of dazed, and you're like, you know, connecting flights, and we're sort of like there in line, and they're like, come on, hurry up, like this really aggressive bullshit for no reason. Yeah, it doesn't really make any sense. So for that reason, I've always been put off Chicago, because my one experience in it has been just, they just treat you shitty. Yeah. So I'm going to have to say Toronto for that reason. Okay. Beyonce or Prince? Never been super into either of them. Probably Beyonce, just because
Okay.
she is. I think she has more catchy songs. I know Prince is cool and everything, and Prince is again very iconic. But I never could get into Prince's stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm gonna say Beyonce. She's cool.
Taylor Swift or Paul McCartney?
Big conflict here. I have a massive crush on Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Like a massive crush.
Yeah. I hear you.
And I've never been a Beatles fan.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they have done some stuff I like. Like I love the song "Hey Jude." And
Yeah.
There's a very hard song that they have called "Helter Skelter."
Yeah.
And that's a pull song, and I'm like, fuck, that's like metal before metal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But recently, Taylor Swift, when I was younger, not that much younger, like when I was in my like late 20s, I hated Taylor Swift because she was just like very typical pop fluff.
Yeah.
And in the last few years, she has really, really developed as an artist.
Yeah.
Fuck, this is difficult. I'm probably just gonna have to say Paul McCartney just because I would like more stuff that he's produced.
Yeah.
In a way that I don't like. I do enjoy some of Taylor Swift stuff, but I like. If I could only ever listen to one of their musics for the rest of my life, I'd have to say Paul McCartney stuff. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But I really respect Taylor Swift and what she's done. Like she's fantastic.
Yeah. Billie Eilish or Lana Del Rey?
I don't really. I like Billie Eilish's stuff. Don't love it, and also I thought the James Bond song she did a few years back was very boring. I was a bit disappointed in that. Lana Del Rey was the one who ripped off Creep, wasn't she?
Yeah, she got a little bit of heat in that.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, that's the only thing I remember by her, so I'm gonna have to say Billie Eilish.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Patrick Mahomes or Peyton Manning?
I don't think I know who either of those people are.
Those are football players.
Oh no, then I do not know.
All right.
Sorry. Anything sports is gonna be lost on me.
Okay. All right. Al Pacino or Robert De Niro?
Love them both. I have to say Al Pacino though, because he just I don't know. There's something so charming about him.
Yeah.
Like it's like he's almost like he's like a slightly less insane Nicolas Cage or something.
Yeah.
Like, Robert De Niro is great, but like there's something just magical about watching Al Pacino perform. It's just like he's so full of this like manic energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great.
Okay.
Al Pacino.
All right. Okay. All right. Steven Spielberg or Martin Scorsese?
Oh, Scorsese, definitely.
Okay.
Like I love them both, but like I actually do a lot of this with my class because like Scorsese films are so good for dialogue.
Yeah.
They're brilliant for English class. So like I will frequently show clips of like Casino and Goodfellas.
Yeah.
Wolf of Wall Street. Like there's so many films that I love by Martin Scorsese. And I'm not very typically like a man in a lot of ways. Like I say, I'm a big girl inside.
Yeah.
One of the few things that I love as like a very typical man thing is I love gangster movies. And
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, love like he makes the best ones.
Yeah. Sopranos or Breaking Bad?
I'm gonna say Breaking Bad. I only watched Sopranos for the first time a few years back, and I watched Breaking Bad. I think I got into it when season 4 had just finished, so I was still kind of watching it when it was current.
Yeah.
Sopranos is excellent.
Yes, it is.
Except it lost it towards the end. The first season of Sopranos is so good, and second, third, and fourth still really good. The fifth and sixth seasons of Sopranos, if I'm remembering correctly, the 6 seasons.
Yeah.
The fifth and sixth seasons of Sopranos just got really boring.
Yeah.
For me, like there was a lot of really good stories. Like remember the story about the gay dude?
Yeah, Vito.
That was such a good story arc. And
It was hilarious, man.
When he comes back and he gets killed, and I was like motherfuckers, and I'm so glad to see that again. I can't remember the dude's name, the great guy. When he gets run over by the car, I'm like, yeah, fuck you piece of shit. But like, even though there's some great story arcs in season 5 and 6, there wasn't enough.
Yeah.
To merit 2 full seasons. I think if they made season 5 and season 6 one season, I think that would have been better.
Yeah.
Whereas like Breaking Bad for me was good all the way through, so I'm going to say Breaking Bad.
Okay. J.J. Abrams.
You ever seen Better Call Saul?
Yeah, I watched that. Yeah, it's really good.
Oh, I fucking love that series. That's such a good series.
All right. J.J. Abrams or Ryan Johnson?
trying to think about what J.J. Abrams has done that I've seen besides Star Wars. Who's Ryan? Is it Brian or Ryan Johnson?
Ryan Johnson. He's like the Knives Out. He made Last Jedi. He made Looper with Bruce Willis and Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Hold on, was Last Jedi was that Star Wars?
That was
the
the
8th one.
That was a sequel to Force Awakens. The movie that got all that controversy.
Yeah, out of that trilogy, that was my favorite one. Everybody shits on that movie. And
yeah.
I thought the directing in that film was fucking superb.
Yeah, it was.
And people were like, "Oh my god, it's the worst one. Look at the Casino Planet." I'm like, "Who fucking cares? It was a fun movie." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I hated Force Awakens, and the last number 9 name I cannot remember. It was okay.
Yeah.
But I loved Part 8. So
yeah.
I'm gonna say Ryan Johnson.
Okay. Star Wars or Mission Impossible?
I've seen all the Star Wars, like the mainline Star Wars.
Yeah.
I've only seen 4 of the Mission Impossibles. 1, 2, 3, and I can't remember what the 4th one I saw was. It might have been number 5 or number 6.
Yeah.
They're good movies. Like, I mean, the first one's a bit boring, but I'm going to say Star Wars. Star Wars is, I think, is more important. And there's some, like, I love A New Hope, and I love Last Jedi.
Okay. Natalie Portman or Keira Knightley?
Really fancy both of them. I'd say Natalie Portman, though, because like Leon, like, she's been in other stuff where she's been really good.
Yeah.
Like, she is absolutely amazing in Leon.
Yeah.
And even the fact that, like, sorry, I know it's going to sound kind of creepy, but, like, the fact that she's sort of, like a sexual predator in that movie is, like, crazy. So creepy, you know what I mean? And
yeah. It's very gnarly to watch now. It's like...
Oh, it's and by the way, it's kind of shitty in hindsight, because it turns out, like, now I never followed up on this, but, you know, Luc Besson, like a lot of people in Hollywood, got accused of some shit, the director of that movie.
Yeah.
And I even remember reading about, like, I can't remember if I read this or if I saw a YouTube video about it. Natalie Portman's parents were, like, and I'm really glad of this, were on set the whole time.
That's good.
Because she was like 11 or 12, like she was so fucking young in that movie.
Yeah.
And one of the scenes that Luc Besson wanted to do was Jean Reno opening the shower and seeing, like, Natalie Portman naked.
Oh.
And she was real, like, she, you know, as the character, she'd be real like, yeah, well, you know, so what kind of thing. And when Luc Besson told her parents that, they were like, no, like, you're not fucking doing that. And he was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I just when I hear that story, I'm like, ew.
Yeah.
Because it's fair enough. I do understand, like, the art and the craft and making a good movie, but at the same time, you're still using a real fucking child.
Yeah, there's boundaries,
you know what I mean? Like,
right?
You have to still, and I remember Tarantino was talking about that exact reason, that there's a really horrific scene in the first Kill Bill movie.
Yeah.
Where he made the whole thing animated because he didn't want to put a real child actor through, you know, like, being with a pedophile. You know what I mean? Like, even though it's only make-believe, right?
Yeah.
And I really respected that, because, like, it's still a real child you're using, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, tangent. She was amazing in that movie.
Yeah.
And it's even, like you say, it's like a trip to watch now.
Yeah.
God, I'm trying to remember what else she's been in, because look,
Black Swan?
Star Wars. What?
Black Swan. Natalie Portman was in Black Swan with Darren Aronofsky.
I didn't really care for that movie.
Okay.
And it's a movie I really wanted to like as well, and I never, because I love what's his face as well, Vincent Cassel.
Yeah.
But for me, he just came across as creepy and a bit predatory, and I just thought, you know.
Okay.
Decent movie, didn't love it, and like I said, I didn't care for the first 3 Star Wars movies, so I didn't like Natalie Portman in that. I thought she's a wonderful actor, but she didn't have a lot to do in those movies.
Yeah.
Anyway, Natalie Portman, just because she's awesome. Keira Knightley's still good. Filmed what's it called? The Notebook, The Hours. No, it's gone out of my head. There was a film that Keira Knightley was in. She was excellent in it. The film she did.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Michael Bay or Zack Snyder?
Remind me what Zack Snyder's done again?
Man of Steel, Watchmen, 300, the Snyder Cut, Justice League. He did Dawn of the Dead as well. James Gunn wrote that.
Oh, okay, yeah. Actually, no, because there's only one film by Michael Bay that I love.
Yeah.
There's a film called Pain and Gain.
Oh, I love that one.
really great movie, and again, really beautifully directed movie. The rest of his stuff is fine. Like I would not be a Michael Bay hater. I think he's done some fine work. Would not be a Transformers. He did Transformers, right?
Yeah, he made Transformers.
Yeah, I was still the first Transformers. Wasn't big into it, but I actually like his style. I think he's got a good style. Some of the films you mentioned, I thought 300 was really good.
Yeah.
Watchmen was great. Dawn of the Dead, the remake, is for me is one of the best remakes, and I'm like a big OG Dawn of the Dead fan, and I love the remake. So I'm gonna have to go with Zack Snyder. He's a great director.
Okay. Batman or Spider-Man?
I liked both of them. Again, not big comic book guy, more to be for like cartoons and stuff.
Yeah.
I think I've always been more a Batman person.
Okay.
I did not like, and by the way, I love Rob Pattinson.
Yeah.
Patterson. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I fucking hated the last Batman movie. I did. No, I seriously, I did not like. It was very pretentious or something.
Yeah.
I didn't like him as Batman. Like I really wanted to like him. I really love him as an actor.
Yeah.
Haven't seen Batman vs Superman.
Nah, I don't see that. It's not a good movie.
Okay. Love Christian Bale's Batmans. Hated the two in between Batmans with Val Kilmer and George Clooney. Not their fault. And I enjoyed the original two. The Michael Keaton ones. Oh, and I love the original Adam West one, like the 1960s one, the movie.
Yeah.
Actually, I had that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And it's so campy. It's wonderful. Yes, definitely Batman.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Neil Gaiman or J.K. Rowling?
I've only ever read one Neil Gaiman book, which is American Gods, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
Joanne Rowling, though, I love Joanne Rowling. Like she's my heart, and I've only actually read the Harry Potter books once. And I want to go back and read them again. So I'm definitely J.K. I love her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Millie Bobby Brown or Megan Fox?
Ooh, I think Millie Bobby Brown's a better actor, but like I don't know. Again, like I'd have a big crush on Megan Fox, and she's just such a badass.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to say Megan. I'm sorry.
Okay, it's fine. It's fine.
I'm gonna have to say Megan Fox.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves or Jason Statham?
Keanu Reeves.
Okay.
I mean, I do like Jason Statham, but like for me, I never really got to grips with Jason Statham as an action hero because, like, for me, like his first two like big movies that I would have been aware of was Snatch and Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels by Guy Ritchie, and he's wonderful in those. And I really liked the fact that he was sort of like an everyman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he wasn't like super badass or super strong or super smart. Like he was just a really normal bloke.
Yeah.
And he played that part really well. And then for me, like maybe it's just because I got used to him as being that person. But for me, Jason Statham as like the action star never felt correct or something. Like I never believed it. You know what I mean? But I love Keanu Reeves. I think he's not an amazing actor, but very likable. Always meant to go back and finish watching the John Wick movies because I only saw the first one. Loved him in The Matrix. Loved him when I was a kid. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures. Loved that movie.
Okay.
Keanu Reeves is awesome.
All right. Justin Timberlake or Robin Thicke?
I'd have to say Justin Timberlake because even though I love the Robin Thicke song, little bit eerie of him as a person because I've heard some stories. Saying that though, more recently I've heard some stories about Justin Timberlake as well. Not that he's been abusive, but that I don't think he treated Britney Spears very well back in the day.
Yeah.
Not that he was like abusive, but I don't think he.
Yeah, he was a bit of a D-bag to her, so.
Yeah, a little bit, but in terms of like content.
Now
that you say that, I really have to go back and listen to Robin Thicke's old stuff because like I'm amazed that I never went back and actually listened to his original material.
Yeah.
But no, Justin Timberlake. I Just Want to Love You and some of his later stuff with NSYNC and his whole first solo album, which was great. Like
Justified. Yeah.
Body and like Cry Me a River. That like it was really really good pop music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Korn or System of a Down?
that's my girlfriend's looking over at me smiling because she loves System as well. Oh fuck, that's like, oh no, that's like Sophie's Choice. Oh, okay. I don't know how to answer that question. This is terrible. Okay, so I had Korn first.
Yeah.
And I didn't, like, obviously System came out later, because like, Korn came out in 94. I think I became aware of them in kind of like 96, 97.
Yeah.
And then I sort of became aware of System when most people did, with
Yeah.
Chop Suey.
Yeah.
In like 2001 or whatever that
Yeah.
was. In actual content, I would like more System of a Down, because like Korn have made like, what, 10, 11 albums now, maybe more, maybe 12?
Yeah.
Made a lot of fucking albums. I like some of them, like I love Korn's first 4 albums. They
Yeah.
didn't really take their 5th album, Untouchables. Yeah. They sort of came back with me. System of a Down, every album that the System have, I love them, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I can't not say Korn, because
Okay.
they were like they were my introduction to new metal.
Okay.
Because after I made my video, I was like, because I think in my video I said I can't remember what song I heard first, and when I went back to it, I think it was probably Blind by Korn.
Okay.
Because I would have heard that like really early on, because my best friend's older brother was into a lot of new metal bands, and I know he was really into Korn, so I would have heard them around the house. I have to say Korn.
Okay.
I'm ashamed because System were so good, and like
they were so good.
They've a better track record of making good music, but Korn are just they're my guys.
Yeah. Pharrell or Timbaland?
I'm gonna have to say Pharrell just because he's so fucking likable.
Yeah.
And I think Timbaland's great. I wouldn't like. I more know Timbaland as a producer, and a great producer that he is.
Yeah.
But like Pharrell just makes really good music.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Really, really good music.
Okay. Miley Cyrus or Olivia Rodrigo?
Would not really be into either of them. It's just Olivia Rodrigo recently. Well, sorry, not recently. It's about a year ago.
Yeah.
I was in a club and the song came on, and I was like, oh, I caught the lyrics of the chorus.
Yeah.
And I'm so obsessed with your ex.
Yes.
And I went home and listened to it. And I typed it in. I was like, oh, Olivia Rodrigo. I've heard of her. And I was like, that song was like masterful.
Yeah, it was.
Like even like from a production point of view and an arrangement point of view of like how she sings it, and the lyrics are like fucking clever.
Yeah. Like
really like poetic lyrics.
Yeah.
And I thought this is just like a throwaway pop song. And it's really, I mean the chorus is still good, but like the actual, so I'm gonna have to say her.
Okay.
Miley Cyrus is fine, but Miley Cyrus has never produced anything that would make me go, holy shit, this is amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tron Legacy or Super 8?
I have not seen either of them.
You have to watch Tron Legacy, my man.
I know, look, when I was a little kid, Tron, the original Tron, was one of my favorite movies of all time. Like, I think when I was 4, it was my favorite movie. I can't really remember it now. I don't know, I think my mom got Tron Legacy and we were supposed to watch it together, and I don't think we ever did.
Yeah. And
I've heard of Super 8 because it's one of J.J. Abrams' early ones, isn't it? It sort of made like J.J. Abrams like a big deal. Yeah. And they were like, "Oh my god, he's the next Spielberg." So I have to go back. I have to watch them both now.
Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. Stranger Things or Game of Thrones?
I'd say Stranger Things. Now, my only gripe with Stranger Things is the last series.
Last season.
What was the antagonist called?
Vecna. Yeah.
The real freaky looking thing.
Vecna.
Vagna?
Yeah, Vecna.
Vecna.
Yeah.
That thing was like fucking crazy looking. It was creepy as shit and really, really great antagonist. I think it was the last episode of Stranger Things. There's dialogue between Vecna and Millie Bobby Brown, and it's like a fucking 12-year-old wrote it. Like, it's so poorly written.
Yeah.
It took me out of it. That was the only bad part of Stranger Things for me. For the rest of it, I loved it. It was just one unfortunate scene of dialogue. However, Game of Thrones had an entire shitty season. Yeah. Being season 3. Yeah. Up until the Red Wedding, every episode up until that point, I think it was like 8 or 9 episodes of just fucking, like, come on, have something happen. Yeah. The rest of it was great. 7th season was, I think it was the last one, was very back and forth. So, like, I'm going to say Stranger Things, because Stranger Things was more consistently good right through.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air or Elf?
Oh, Fresh Prince.
Okay.
Like, I really enjoyed Fresh Prince when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I only saw Elf a few years back for the first time. I didn't really like it. I didn't hate it. But, like, my mom loved that movie. And when I saw it, I was like, I don't get it. I don't get what you love about that movie.
All right.
But Fresh Prince is great. Though I find it difficult to look at Will Smith anymore after the incident.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could never think of him the same way after he did that to one of my boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
George Carlin or Dave Chappelle?
Chappelle.
Yeah.
I could never get, like... it's on my list of things I really want to go back and watch all of the Chappelle Show. Like, one of my best friends loves the Chappelle Show, and I've seen bits and pieces of it, and I fucking adore it.
Yeah.
Really adore it.
Yeah.
I like George Carlin, but I could never really get into his stuff. Like, I don't, like, anytime I see Dave Chappelle doing either stand-up or in a TV series or something, I love him. Whereas George Carlin, I'm like, yeah, he's okay. I really like George Carlin as an actor.
Yeah.
Like he was in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. And
he was in Dogma as well.
Yeah, I loved him in Dogma. He was so good in that. And years went by, I hadn't realized it was George Carlin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Ben Affleck or Matt Damon?
Matt Damon.
Okay.
And again, Ben Affleck's fine. Ben Affleck, for me, I don't know if other people have this.
Yeah.
I always find Ben Affleck unlikable in movies. And I don't know is he supposed to be. Like, he was in a film, an early Kevin Smith film called Chasing Amy.
Yeah, great movie.
And he's just like, he's like the main character in it.
Yeah.
And he's just, the whole time, like, I don't like you. And I don't know, was he written like that? Or, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
There's just something about Ben Affleck and he seems like a really fucking good dude. Like, but just the way he plays his characters, he just comes across as unlikable for me.
Yeah.
And I love Matt Damon. I love him.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Nicole Kidman or Kate Blanchett?
I'm going to say Nicole Kidman because I could not place Kate Blanchett. I know her, but I know I can place Nicole Kidman easier in my mind.
Okay.
Even like an Eyes Wide Shut, she was pretty good.
Yeah, okay.
As far as I remember.
Okay. Tom Cruise or Jackie Chan?
I don't want to say Tom Cruise because I know how fucking crazy he is.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I've never been I think I respect Jackie Chan, but he's never been like my guy the way like Bruce Lee was. You know what I mean?
Okay. All right.
I'm gonna have to say Tom Cruise because I love some of his earlier movies.
Okay. Bob Marley or Vybz Kartel?
Who's the second person?
Vybz Kartel he's like a reggae dancehall legend. Granted, he was in jail for a while, right? He was caught up in this murder case. So.
Wow. I'm gonna have to say Bob Marley just because I don't know the second dude, and I would not be a reggae person at all. Like reggae and country, I'd be like pretty much zero, not my genres. But yeah, Bob Marley's cool.
Okay, all right. Otis Redding or Stevie Wonder?
I know I've heard of Otis Redding, but I could not name anything by him. So again, I'm gonna say Stevie Wonder because he's cool.
Okay. Nickelback or Imagine Dragons?
I know nothing by Imagine Dragons. Again, I know I've heard the name, but actually, for all the shit that Nickelback gets, I actually really like one or two songs by them. I know it's not officially a Nickelback song, but Hero, that they did for the first Spider-Man soundtrack.
That was fire.
That was like, it's a pity that all Nickelback songs can't be that good. You know what I mean? Because that actually was like a fucking. I'm not gonna say it was a deep song, but it was a big emotional song.
Yeah.
And if Chad Kroeger was like the lead writer in that, I'm like, why can you not write all your songs that well?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think he'd be way respected if you could write all your songs like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I like the song Rockstar by them as well. That was catchy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'm thinking. 50 Cent or T.I.?
The only thing I know about T.I. was when he was in that one Robin Thicke song, so I have to say 50. Yeah, 50's cool.
Okay. Alright. Okay. Thinking. Haley Steinfeld or Amy Adams?
I don't know Amy Steinfeld, and I love Amy Adams. So
Okay.
again, that would be. It's funny because you mentioned a few people now, like Amy Adams, like big crush on her. Holy shit,
Bro, her in that Night at the Museum movie, bro. OD, man.
Night at the Museum.
Huh?
I think I'm sort of the wrong generation for that. I mean, I'm not like I remember it coming out, but I was like, I think I was about 20 when that film came out. No, actually, I was showing my girlfriend. What do you call it? What was the film we watched? Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah.
And Amy Adams was in that. I was like, oh shit, I forgot how gorgeous she was.
Yeah. Okay.
And she's gorgeous no matter what age she is, but younger Amy Adams, I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Raven or Superman?
Don't know Raven as a character.
She's from Teen Titans.
She's what?
She's a Teen Titan. You don't know?
See, I never saw Teen. I know Teen Titans, but I never. Again, wrong generation. So
Alright.
Superman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Ooh. Okay. Alright. Scarface or Casino?
Oh, that's a tough one. I do love Scarface, and it's funny. Scarface was so hyped up for me.
Yeah.
As like the greatest gangster movie ever, and you know when something's so hyped up, you're like, oh, it's not gonna be that good. Like Godfather was the same, and I saw Godfather the first one, and I was like, that was kind of boring.
Yeah.
Scarface was so fucking good, even with it being hyped up.
Yeah.
But for me, Casino was like, I will sometimes put on Casino like as background.
Yeah.
Just while I'm just doing a job, like like around the house.
Yeah.
And I will like watch it for 5 minutes and realize that I've been watching it for like 40 minutes because I just like one scene flows so well to the next.
Yeah.
So, like it's one of my big movies, so definitely
Okay.
Casino.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Darren Aronofsky or David Fincher?
Who's the first guy again? What do you do?
Darren Aronofsky, he's a director. He directed Black Swan. He directed Mother. He's directing this new movie that has like Austin Butler, and I don't know if you know those guys or not.
Yeah, I wouldn't know his stuff as much. Sorry, who was the second one again?
David Fincher.
Oh, yeah,
Fight Club.
I love his like again. Fight Club, my favorite movie of all time. Because he's one of my favorites. I went back and watched all of his movies.
Yeah.
I watched Mank about a year ago.
Yeah.
I think that was the last one, and I did not like that. So I think it's his only movie I actually don't like, but I actually really like the rest of his movies. Benjamin Button was a bit weird.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, I know it's a weird story, but like I don't know. What was the one about the serial killer?
Yeah.
I can't think of that name.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think David Fincher stuff's cool. Even Alien 3, I love that movie.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, I don't love that movie, but I love David Fincher's touch on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I love.
That's fair.
He's one of my favorite directors of all time.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Ooh. Brie Larson or Rachel Zegler?
I feel like I should know who Rachel Zegler is. I love Brie Larson. So. Zegler. Oh fucking hell! Ew, no. Oh, barf. Jesus, she's like Satan. Or I shouldn't say that, but fucking hell, like talk about it, like. Oh, Jesus, woman, get out of your own way. No, Brie Larson all the way.
Okay. Ana de Armas or Gal Gadot?
Who was the first one?
Ana de Armas.
What was she in?
She was in the James Bond movie, No Time to Die. She was like the sort of the Wafu hologram type in Blade Runner 2049.
Oh fuck! I love her.
Really?
Yeah, but she was in Knives Out as well.
Yeah, she's nice. Yeah.
She's gorgeous. I love her. I absolutely adore her. I always forget her name though.
Yeah.
And who is she being compared to?
Gal Gadot.
Yeah, she's alright. Like, I mean, I really would fancy her. Like, and I love the big strong woman, like Wonder Woman stuff. But outside of Wonder Woman, I don't really. Yeah, she's alright. I mean, yeah, no, I'm gonna have to go with the first one definitely.
Okay. Okay. Alright. Brian De Palma.
By the way, not to push you. Are there many more of these? Because I'm gonna have to wrap this up and go.
Yeah, there's 2 or 3 more.
Okay, go for it.
Alright. Brian De Palma or Wes Anderson?
Remind me what De Palma did.
De Palma did Scarface.
Okay. So let me just double check here. Scarface, because I do like Wes Anderson stuff as well.
Oh yeah.
Let me see. Scarface. Yeah, I liked Carlito's Way. See, besides Scarface, there's nothing really else that he did that I loved.
Yeah.
So like, I'm gonna just go with Wes Anderson because like there's a lot of films of his that I like really love, like especially Grand Budapest Hotel.
Yeah.
Actually, that'll be the main one.
All right.
But I think I like his style more, definitely.
Rihanna or Britney?
No. Sorry, De Palma did The Untouchables. I love that movie.
Okay.
Okay, fuck it, De Palma.
All right. Rihanna or Britney Spears?
Britney Spears, because she actually I actually really liked her when I was a kid.
Okay.
And I remember there was this point. It was almost like a turning point that I actually was standing in the record store.
Yeah.
With Baby One More Time.
Yeah.
The album.
Yeah.
In one hand, and Americana by The Offspring in the other, and I only had money to buy one.
Yeah.
And I bought Americana by The Offspring, and I never looked back.
Okay.
And actually, I never went back and bought the Britney Spears album. And I always wanted to go see her live, and then I found out she fucking doesn't sing live, and that broke my heart.
Okay. Okay. So here's the last one. This might be a tough one for you.
Well, I don't think it could be tougher than Corner System of a Down. That was a brutal choice.
All right. Need for Speed or Forza?
See, that one's easy for me because I didn't grow up playing the Need for Speed games, and I love racing games.
Yeah.
And when I was in England, I was having a really shitty time when I was in England.
Yeah.
And Forza Horizon 4
Yeah.
was like, that really helped me get through. And even the fact that I was living in England and that game is set in England,
yeah,
kind of let me sort of like live in like my fantasy England.
Okay.
So Forza definitely. I mean, I think I've played bits of Need for Speeds like a few years back, but none of them really grabbed me the way Forza did. Like I loved Forza Horizon 4.
All right. Bonus one. GTA or The Last of Us?
GTA.
Okay.
I mean, I do like. I mean, look, I hated the second Last of Us.
Okay.
Like I fucking hate just.
Yeah.
I would have hated it less if it hadn't had what's her name, Abby?
Yeah, Abby. Yeah.
Yeah, if it hadn't had her, if her story had been like a separate DLC, I would have actually preferred that. Like if it had been a separate game.
Yeah.
But that just slowed the whole thing way down for me.
Okay.
And also, I hated her as a character.
Okay.
I love the first Last of Us, but at the same time, I loved GTA 3, I loved GTA Vice City.
Yeah.
Didn't care for number 4, loved San Andreas, loved number 5.
Yeah.
Really looking forward to number 6. I was only thinking this yesterday, the last big AAA game that I really loved was GTA 5, and I can't believe that that's 12 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, so definitely GTA 3.
Okay. It was an honor having you on here. I never thought you would say yes to this.
That was a really fun interview.
Yeah, it was. You were a great guest. Maybe we can do another one of these in the near future. Who knows?
Sure.
Yeah. So have a nice rest of your day, my man. I'm going to be pretty hyped for your upcoming video too.
Send me a link when you post it, or I'll keep an eye out to.
Yeah, I'll just send you the link on Gmail, like I always do.
That'd be great.
Okay. Bye.
Thanks so much. Have a really good day, right?
Yeah. You too.
See you later.
See ya. That was an episode of the Renegade podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed. Same way I enjoyed putting this one together. See you guys next time.